Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Minato sealed Kushina inside Naruto during the Kyuubi attack part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. She woke up dumbfounded. There was no way. Her husband didn't mess up. He was proficient in sealing jutsu thanks to his research on her clan. And yet, here she was, sitting down in a watery sewer, in front of the gigantic cage imprisoning her former tenant, looking at her with malevolent scarlet eyes piercing her soul, and a psychotic grin. His laugh full of malice echoed through the empty place. "You foolish mortals never cease to surprise me," the beast said. The redhead woman gulped. She knew very well how strong that seal was, but she wouldn't be stupid enough to taunt the monster responsible for her child's solitude a few hours ago. "What happened?" "I know Minato didn't fucked up." Kushina glared at the predator with all the confidence she could gather. "I presume the fourth added both of your chakras into the seal. What he didn't take into account, however, is how special yours is." The fox smirked. A drop of sweat formed on her forehead. "What do you mean?" "You are a special being even among the Uzumaki. Your curse chains are proof of that. Even at death's door, your chakra is strong enough to manifest itself here. I just took the opportunity to transfer some of mine to turn you into a proper person." The feral mass of chakra smiled. "Just like me, you'll be there for a long time, probably until the brat dies. At least I'll have some company here." What a sick joke. Her former prisoner trapped her there, alone, for his enjoyment. In the ideal scenario, her chakra would have stayed dormant until her son needed her help to defeat the nine-tailed fox, putting her in some kind of self-induced coma, but now she would have to wait several years in solitude with the tailed beast, enduring its constant taunts. I must admit, this is quite the seal that Minato created. Far better than being impaled on a melting rock. It's peaceful. The second-to-last Uzumaki gritted her teeth. "Is this some kind of retribution for all the time you were in caged Kyuubi? Don't you have enough of making people suffer? You destroyed the village and stole my precious time with my son." His eyes widened in cold rage at the stupidity of this woman. "Don't play dumb with me, Kushina." He slammed his claws at the cage, making the helpless mother step back. "You saw it, I was controlled by a damn Uchiha. The only act of sanity on my part was my attack on your newborn, because I didn't want to be sealed. Instead of letting me go, your husband decided to cage me again, to preserve your so-called peace between the nations. You're telling me that, as if you weren't a bloodlust beast in the first place, despite all the shit you tried to do when you were inside of me," the former Jinchuriki argued. Kyuubi sighed. "The old man was wrong about you, humans. You won't ever find peace, you can't even see us tailed beasts as living beings." Kushina frowned. "The old man? The one you call the Sage of Six Paths. He's not a myth, he truly existed, wishing for peace among humans and us, and look where we are now," the fox said. "Anyway, you'll have a lot of time to waste until your brat contacts us, so it won't hurt if I instill some knowledge in your hot-headed brain." He chuckled. "After all, with you there, I won't escape even if he loses control." The red-haired woman gulped. Her boy was an orphan Jinchuriki. What would happen to him until she could help? For now, she could only hope for the best. The mightiest of the tailed beast was open for discussion. It seemed much calmer than she remembered, and its revelation intrigued her. Maybe some form of agreement could be achieved between the two prisoners. Kushina took a deep breath. "Fine. Let's talk. I'm curious about the knowledge you possess." The gigantic fox smirked. "First, let's begin with my name." 9 years later. The blonde boy was pranking the village, once again. This time, he decided to paint the whole Yamanaka household in purple, since the heiress loved that color. It couldn't be so mean, right? He was proven wrong when the Hokage Gramps ordered him to apologize to the blonde girl's mom, because some of his paint killed the flowers near the walls. He was truly sorry, his face and teary eyes showed it. He didn't want to harm the pretty plants, and for the first time in his life, bowed in front of someone, a gesture that confused even Hiruzen. The troublesome kid never did that once, explaining that he wouldn't give the citizen what they wanted, since they hated him without giving the reason why. Obviously, the old shinobi never replied either. The burden was too great for a 9-year-old kid, but he still cursed his lack of authority each time he saw the hateful stares the child received. How dare they mistreat the child of their hero, the fourth Hokage? But the third was powerless. Even the lineage was a secret, for the boy's well-being, considering all the enemies his father had in his lifetime. Fortunately for the young Jinchuriki, the Yamanaka mom wasn't as scary as the other villagers. She gave him a small scolding and a gentle pat on the head after his bowing. As a punishment, she ordered the boy to learn about plants, and he would take tests every end of the week for a whole month, hoping it would develop a more caring nature in the knucklehead blonde. The adult received a charming grin for an answer, along with an enthusiasm that could rival that of her daughter when she talked about her school crush. I'll give you some books, but don't learn only about plants. You need to listen to your teachers at the academy too, Yamanaka Ryo said. Okay, ma'am, Naruto replied. I won't do it again, I promise. I thought it wouldn't be so bad. The mother smiled. I trust you, you couldn't know after all. She glanced at the painted walls. By the way, why did you choose purple? Now that I look at it, it's pretty good. The blonde kid crossed his arms. It's Ino's favorite color, so I figured it would be the least problematic one to use. And she's right, purple is cool, not as good as orange, but still pretty. Hiruzen and the mother snorted at the comment. What a childish reason, and he technically gave a more modern look to the shop for free. Well, I'm sure both Inoichi and Ino will be shocked. That's a shame for the flowers around, but I can still plant some to replace them. Can I help? I can do that to apologize too, the boy exclaimed. The blonde woman agreed, and she was starting to wonder why such a sweet child was so despised by the village. His pranks weren't malicious, the orphan only wanted recognition. She guessed it from their interaction and the terrorized look on his face when she approached him. Maybe there was something she could do for him. An idea popped in her head, and she closed the distance between her and the old man. Excuse me, Lord Hokage, she whispered. Is there a reason why he can't be adopted? The man sighed. Yes, I can't tell you precisely why, but this boy is important. Is it related to his name? To my knowledge, there was only one person with the Uzumaki name, and it was Uzumaki Kushina. Ryo asked. Hiruzen did his best to hide the concern on his face. Unfortunately, no. It's a name we gave him. He was alone in the rubble of the hospital after Kyuubi's attack, and we never found out who his parents were. We only know he possesses a unique bloodline limit that he doesn't know himself. The Yamanaka glanced at Naruto with sadness. What a poor child. I assume he's important because you want to nurture his ability, right? The old man nodded. Indeed, he'll be a formidable shinobi in the future. He even wants to be the Hokage, and I am sure he can succeed. Ryo smiled faintly. I trust your judgment, Lord Hokage. If I may, would you allow me to ask my daughter to try to befriend him? I know how alone he is, a few friends can't be wrong, and if it works, I'm sure the youngs Choji and Shikamaru would tag along. Hiruzen's eyes widened and a grin appeared on his face. You have no idea how wonderful your proposal is. You'll have my eternal gratitude if something happens between them. The woman shook her head. No need to thank me, Lord Hokage. I'm doing the bare minimum for a child. The third glanced sadly at his protege. And yet, the majority of the villagers aren't capable of that. Yamanaka Ryo gave some books to the boy and saw him leaving with Konoha's leader. She checked the hour, almost 5 p.m., meaning that her husband and her daughter would come home soon. She was already giggling, picturing their reactions at the newly colored walls. Yamanaka Flower Shop, 5:30 p.m. Yamanaka Inoichi was a composed man, thanks to his job. Interrogating the most vile criminals and inspecting violent memories every day was a habit. He would remain unfazed to the most disturbing events happening in his life, except for the nine-tailed fox rampage 9 years ago, and his wife's childbirth. However, this evening, his whole body froze in confusion at the sight of his home. Did his lovely wife go crazy? Was it a snap from his daughter? The once yellow walls were engulfed in strong purple, and it wasn't the work of an amateur. The dedication could be worth a paid job. The unknown was the identity of the culprit. Whoever it was, if his wife contacted him, the clan head would have to thank him. The color was surprising, but pleasing to admire. Everything was done in a single day. This artist must be extremely talented. Next to him stood a stunned, mouth gasping, 9-year-old Yamanaka Ino. Amazement, shock, and fear traveled through her body. She knew who was responsible for this. The prankster of Konoha, dead last in her class, the second blonde of her generation, and the loudest boy she had ever heard. His absence at the academy today should have alerted her. The girl pranked him last week with a false love letter from Harino Sakura, and he made sure to tell her she would pay. And paid she did. Despite how angry she wanted to be, she couldn't. Her house was so beautiful like that. Who could have known that Uzumaki Naruto was a great painter? Probably something he picked up from all the nasty things he drew on the Hokage's faces on the mountain. Furthermore, she guessed he did that in a few hours, because when she left this morning, the shop was still yellow. Goddamn stamina freak! She exclaimed. That was the only tangible explanation, as she had an idea of how restless the kid could be. Lesson learned, she'll never mess with the #1 prankster of Konoha again. Maybe she'll ask him for help to perfect her own pranks, even. A certain forehead would gladly appreciate them. Finishing her cleaning, Rio heard the bells ring and turned her face to welcome her family. The astonished looks on their faces made her laugh like never before. She'll have to thank Naruto for the new memory. If you could look at your faces, almost as if you've seen a ghost, the mother exclaimed. I'd say it's pretty close, honey. When did it happen and who did that? A prank from Uzumaki Naruto. The woman chuckled. He painted the whole building this afternoon, and Lord Hokage came here to make him apologize. I already gave him a punishment, not too harsh. I admit I like the new look, we didn't even had to pay for it. The father snorted. So it was finally our turn to become the target of the prankster. Well, if you don't mind it, either do I, it's refreshing. I'll deal with him tomorrow. Ino pouted. Bet he didn't know the paint was toxic to some of our plants. About that, Ino, Rio said. What do you think about him? He's in your class, right? The young girl looked at the ceiling, lost in her thoughts. Well, he's loud, bad at school, obnoxious at times, but I don't dislike him. He's the one making school fun when he's there, and he seems to work hard when he trains if it's not boring lessons from Irika-sensei or Mizuki-sensei. The blonde mother nodded. Do you think you could help him? I asked him to learn more about plants in general. I lent him some books about it, and I'll test him every week for the whole month. He seems to be a good child, despite his reputation. The daughter glanced at the adult, puzzled. You want Naruto to read? He got the attention span of a fish, Mom. Both genitors snorted. That's probably because he finds all the academy stuff boring, you said it yourself. But he can't refuse my request since it's a punishment, right? Ino thought for a few seconds. Well, yeah. I can try, maybe he'll develop a hobby and I could talk about flowers with him. Rio gave a smile to the blonde child while her father nodded in agreement, happy with the answer from their daughter. Inoichi knew of the true nature of the Jinchuriki, but he truly despised how the villagers treated him. He even wondered how the boy maintained his sanity after years of bullying as an orphan. If someone needed a friend, that was him. Minato and Kushina would be rolling in their graves if they knew about Naruto's situation. Naruto's apartment, 8 p.m. After another dinner at Ichiraku's with his two favorite chiefs, the boy returned home, ready to learn from the kind woman's books. He wasn't fond of theoretical stuff at the academy, however, he was truly committed to fixing his mistakes if he did something really bad. This was a punishment, and a challenge for him. He always thought that flowers and plants were cool, he liked how beautiful they could be, how good they could smell, and now he had the opportunity to learn more about them. Maybe he could create his garden in the future? What if he could learn cool techniques involving deadly flowers? A childish thought, but the excitement coming from the idea made him instantly fired up, and he started focusing on the first book he picked. Lots of information and complicated names, too much to handle for the brain of a little boy. Without knowing it, he fell asleep on his bed. This time, he didn't even think about his loneliness, the blonde was too eager to read more and more. Inside the seal. During all these years, Kushina had been tortured by the view of the treatment inflicted on her son by the village. How lonely he was, the incomprehension about his solitude, how terrified he was of the hateful stares and occasional beatings. She wished to be free to unleash her wrath, to comfort the kid, and be there for him. How ironic, she was closer to him than any parent could hope to be of their child, but couldn't reach him. She cried with him when he expressed his pain, was happy for the small moments of joy, was proud of his small achievements, laughed at his pranks, yet she couldn't notify him of her presence. A curse for a mother, and a blessing for a shinobi. She learned many things from her roommate, his name, the story of his genitor and his brethren, how he came to hate humans, and the culprit behind the assault 9 years ago. An unknown Uchiha, strong enough to control the tailed beast and keep her husband in check for the time being. Only one man could do that, Uchiha Madara. How he was alive was a mystery, but that wasn't the most important. No one knew of him, nor his plans, meaning that the world was in danger from a threat much stronger than what it could handle. With time, the Uzumaki mother and the fox began to understand each other. The forced bond greatly improved the humor of the beast, while Kushina excused herself for her foolishness, and how she could have communicated with him far earlier if she wanted to, but never saw him more than a monster she had to contain. Both concluded that despite their age, they made idiotic mistakes that couldn't be undone, but their new experience could prevent more dire ones from happening. And everything will start anew as soon as the promised child would arrive in his mindscape. 9 years of waiting, watching hopelessly as the poor child was close to his breaking point. All of it would be repaired today, as they saw him sleeping peacefully for the first time in his life, allowing him to reach this place. He was lying down in the warm water, eyes still closed, and Kushina had trouble holding back her incoming tears. Naruto woke up confused, wondering what kind of stupid dream he was having. Gigantic walls from what he guessed was a sewer, with only the sound of falling droplets echoing through the room. Before him stood a gigantic cage, its inside impossible to distinguish as it was engulfed in darkness, and a pretty, red-haired woman in front of him, observing him through her purplish eyes, with an expression he had never seen before, one that brought warmth to his heart. She was smiling gently, approaching him with light steps, until she closed the distance between them, and sat down in front of him. Naruto. The woman sat there, with a gentle smile and caring eyes, a stare he had trouble understanding. The boy wasn't used to kindness, even the Hokage Gramps never looked at him like this. They had a kind of grandfather and grandson relationship from what he could guess from family bonds, but that was the extent of it. It couldn't be a dream, his brain would never create such an expression on such a beautiful face, that he instinctively recognized for some reason. And to add more to the kid's confusion, she uttered his name. Naruto, the strange lady said. His eyebrows twitched. Where am I? Who are you, pretty lady? How do you know my name? The red-haired woman chuckled. It was hard to maintain a straight face and not jump for a hug. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? The blonde kid innocently nodded. You are in your mindscape, everything here is real, but only you can see it. The reason why you are here is thanks to your peaceful sleep. You didn't have any nightmares this night, right? The child shook his head, proving her point. Now for who I am, let's start with a name, Uzumaki Kushina. She noted with a bright smile. His eyes lit up. You Uzumaki? Like me? Yes, just like you. She nodded. And for how I know your name, well, it's the one I gave you. Kushina let a moment for her son to process what she implied. A mix of confusion and deep thoughts on his face at first, then a trembling mouth with teary eyes. Mom? He muttered, having trouble asking the question. Her expression softened, she nodded again, still with that kind smile and loving purplish eyes, a stare only produced by maternal instincts. Naruto jumped instantly, hugging her waist, and she embraced him back, gently caressing his small back. Mom! How? Why? He asked between his sobs of happiness. I'll explain everything once you'll be fine, my dear Naruto. From now on, just know that I'll always be here, as I should have if I were alive. She explained, rubbing his head. The boy stepped back. If you were alive? Then you're not? Kushina shook her head and scratched the back of her head with a small grin. It's complicated, you know. The Uzumaki hummed for a few seconds. Tell me, did you listen to the sealing jutsu's teachings at the academy? A little. It was the least boring thing Iruka-sensei could talk about. The others found it difficult, but for me it was not complicated. That's my boy! Kushina exclaimed. And what can you tell me about it? Naruto crossed his arms. It's a practice to put things into stuff? Yeah, it's pretty much how it works. The mother chuckled loudly at the explanation. Now, imagine that you are the stuff, and my chakra is the thing. The boy was slow to understand, but not an idiot. Oh. So I have your chakra inside of me, and that's why you're here? Kushina nodded. Yup, but it must stay a secret for now. Because that's not the whole truth. I suppose you noticed how mean the villagers are to you, right? The blonde glanced at her sadly. Yes, some of them even call me a demon. And I suppose you wonder why. What is your birth date? She said. October 10th. He replied. Do you know what happened on this day, 9 years ago? Kushina asked. Yeah, the village was attacked by the Kyuubi, he gasped. I am the Kyuubi? The red-haired mom snorted. Of course not, I gave birth to you, you know. But remember what we discussed about seals. This time, he understood much quicker. He's also here? Why? She offered her hand and smiled. Take my hand, he's not as bad as you think, it was an accident. Both approached closer and closer to the cage, until Naruto could clearly see the jailed beast. He was there, right in front of him, lying peacefully on the watery ground, seemingly bored, looking at the Jinchuriki with his red-slitted eyes, without any animosity. Took you long enough, Kushina, the beast commented. The former container put her hands on her waist and pouted. Come on, Kurama, it's the first time I've seen my lovely boy. The child looked at the giant fox, perplexed. Kurama? He's not Kyuubi? Kushina giggled. No, he's a living being just like us. You're not named human, you are Naruto, it's the same for this fluffy guy here. She pointed at the nine-tailed fox with her thumb. His true name is Kurama, but no one knows. Humph. I don't remember giving you the authorization to reveal my name to him. The tailed beast noted. As if you were displeased by it. She shrugged off. I would have liked to introduce myself. Kurama sighed. Anyway, I believe it's time for a proper explanation. I am what humans call the nine-tailed fox, Kurama, and you, brat, are my Jinchuriki. I was sealed here by the fourth Hokage. As your mother explained, my attack on your village was an accident. I was controlled by a traitorous Uchiha. From this brief exchange, Naruto guessed some things. First, his mom was speaking friendly with the so-called monster fox, and second, the fox himself was nice? Completely different from the terrifying stories he heard from the academy. And lastly, he was a Jinchuriki, whatever it signified. Jinchuriki? The boy asked in confusion. A term to describe people like you, with a tailed beast sealed inside of them. Kurama is the nine-tailed fox, and there are 8 other beings just like him, sealed within other people, other Jinchurikis. Kushina explained. Why would we imprison them in humans if they're going to be mistreated? That's cruel for the jailers and the tailed beasts. Naruto wondered. For political stuff, you're too young to understand these things. But primarily because of their strength, a Jinchuriki is significantly more powerful than normal shinobis, due to their ability to use the tailed beast's power to fight. The mother explained. However, all of them were foolish enough not to communicate with us, including your mother. The beast followed. Huh? Does that mean that mom was your previous Jinchuriki before me? He asked. Kushina nodded. Indeed, and that's how I died, because once a tailed beast is extracted from their containers, the Jinchuriki dies. The fourth Hokage sealed my chakra along with Kurama to help you. Oh. That's nice of him, but I kinda don't want to use Kurama's strength if he doesn't want to. He never asked to be there in the first place, it's impolite. The blonde child replied. The mother grinned, proud of this answer. She looked at the baffled fox behind the prison. Told you my boy was a gem. Right. Kurama sighed. Here's the thing, kid. I'm willing to offer you my chakra, trust me, you'll need it. And since you're aware of my presence early, it would be a waste not to use my power. But first, you'll have to train. No offense, but you're lacking in pretty much everything for now. Kushina scratched the back of her head in embarrassment. You could have said that better, you know, but it's the truth, not that it's your fault, Naruto. What do you mean? I know that I suck at the academy, no matter how hard I train, I don't improve. He noted. That's because Mizuki is teaching you wrong stuff. He doesn't like you, just like many villagers, because of your status, but don't worry, I thought of a plan to help you catch up in no time. Mommy won't let her boy be the dead last, you know. She exclaimed with a large smile. Oh, it explains some things. I guess what's your plan, Mom? Naruto asked. I'll tell you on the way. For now, you should wake up. It's already 7 a.m., and now I don't want you to miss school, even if I love your pranks. She replied. Already? Damn, time flies fast here. He exclaimed, panicked. Don't worry, I'll be a good kid from now on. I have 1 hour to go to the academy. That's plenty of time to prepare. Kushina nodded. That's the spirit, young boy. Now go, but before that she embraced her son and kissed him on the left cheek. Can't let my son leave without a proper goodbye. She smiled at the dumbfounded blonde. Naruto took a moment to replay what happened in his head. He put his hand on his warm cheek, the feeling still fresh. The first time he received so much affection, from his real mother, nonetheless. His lightly tanned skin was becoming red, a newfound happiness surged from his body, and without being able to explain why, he couldn't take his grin off his face. Hey. So that's how it feels to have a parent that's so great, he noted. The Jinchuriki really wanted to stay here for eternity, but he had someone to make proud now. Thanks, Mom. So I'm off, I guess? The red-haired lady smiled and waved her hand. Have a nice day, Naruto. After these words, he was suddenly expelled from the mindscape and found himself lying on his bed, teary-eyed. It couldn't be possible, surely it was a dream, there was no way he could wake up this happy. The thought terrified him, and he was quickly reassured by the joyful feminine voice in his head. I'm watching, young boy. It wasn't an illusion, he truly was a Jinchuriki, and his mother, despite not being present in the past, watched over him ever since his birth and is currently encouraging him. What a bliss, a hope becoming real. He has so many questions to ask, firstly about his dad, but for now, all he could think of was to make his pretty mom proud of him, and finish the day quickly to see her again. No matter if he had no friends, his mom was standing closer to him than ever. No other child could even comprehend how lucky he was, and if he didn't have to keep it a secret, the blonde would probably boast about his peculiar situation. Thinking about it, knowing that she was constantly watching also brought a little bit of fear to him. No more funny stuff, isn't it? We can still prank people, you know? she reassured her son with a mischievous voice. He laughed mentally. Yeah, this is going to be a good life from now on. Konoha's Ninja Academy, 8 a.m. This day was the weirdest of their years passed here for the students, Mizuki and Irika. First of all, Uzumaki Naruto was here early. Not late, not at the right time, but early. Second, he was paying attention to every lesson, even answering some questions of his own volition. Third, he didn't bother Uchiha Sasuke or Haruno Sakura, the boy was completely focused on his books. And lastly, he seemed genuinely happy. Irika wasn't a mind reader, but as an orphan himself, could easily detect a real smile from a fake one. That's how he guessed that the young blonde wasn't doing well despite his personality, and how he decided to become some kind of mentor to him, even bringing the boy to his favorite restaurant, Ichiraku. For once, he felt pleased by looking at the bullied kid. No one knew what happened, but damn, it was a much appreciated change. On the contrary, Mizuki was angry at this demonic fiend running rampant in the village. How dare he show a trace of joy on his face? How dare he answer correctly and not mind his taunts to make him falter? Was this a challenge from the humanoid fox to test his killing intent? Because he was pretty sure he would slaughter that kid if they were alone together in the room for a few seconds. Lunch break was coming. Everyone had questions, but no one was brave enough to associate themselves with the dead last. This sudden change was for the best, sure, but until proven wrong, he was still the worst student of their class, or their generation, even. Well, one person dared to see for herself what was wrong? She promised her mother that she would try something with him, and if he was already becoming serious like that, it would be a piece of cake to become his friend, and it would change her daily life with the two slackers. She even had the luck to have a perfect subject to engage the conversation, his prank from yesterday. Therefore, Ino approached the blonde kid, alone in the front row. Hey, Naruto. The young Yamanaka greeted. He was deeply lost in his thoughts, but snapped back to reality. MMH? Oh, yo, Ino. She fakely frowned. So, care to explain the new colors of my house? The blonde gulped. Ah, right. Her mom punished me, but I can't dodge her. Before she could say anything else, he bowed before the girl. Sorry about that, I won't do it anymore, I promise. Your mom gave me some books to study about plants for my punishment, so I would like you to forgive me, please. The gesture confused her. Uzumaki Naruto, the guy who never cared about rules, was bowing apologetically as if he had committed murder. Huh. Mom was right, he's not that bad. She thought. I'm aware already, she told me. But let me guess, you didn't remember anything from the books, right? Ino asked with an amused grin. Naruto sighed. Yeah, too much complicated stuff written on it for now. Gonna be hard to pass your mom's tests. The blonde girl chuckled. I can help you if you want. I learned that since I could read. His eyes lit up like never before. Really? You would do that? Why is he so excited about such a simple thing? She questioned, but wasn't displeased. He was kinda cute with this grin and his strange whiskers. No. Must forget that immediately. She corrected herself. Obviously, if you come to the shop for the tests, then we'll see each other much more than usual. Would be a shame not to take advantage of that. Inside his head, Naruto heard a feminine giggling. Something's wrong, Mom? No. Everything is perfectly fine. Kushina replied. I guess you're right, then I accept your help. He offered his hand for a handshake. To his surprise, the young heiress smiled and replied to the gesture. Wow, she's a nice girl when she's not fawning over Sasuke. He thought. Sakura saw the whole scene and was happy about her former blonde friend, for once. Maybe she'll have Sasuke sooner than expected. Choji and Shikamaru looked at each other, bewildered. Once their non-official bossy sister came back, they assaulted her with questions. Well, you heard me, right? He pranked me by repainting my whole house yesterday. My mom gave him something to do to apologize, and I'll help him since plant stuff is complicated for novices. She shrugged off. The explanation satisfied their curiosity, but they knew how friendly the guy was. Soon enough, he'll be integrated for real in the circle, not that they minded. Both of them had already tagged along with Naruto. Despite his awful reputation, they found out that he was a pretty fun guy. The day passed quickly, and the Jinchuriki genuinely liked it for once. No bullying, no taunts, he was taken seriously by Irika-sensei. He did well in the sparrings thanks to his mom's advice, and he even talked nicely to a girl who didn't hit him. Kushina was adamant about her opinion of Sakura. She was nothing more than a school crush, and her son was too young to deal with ladies. For now, he would take school seriously until the genin graduation before trying anything with a girl. His future would come first. Now he was starting to understand why Shikamaru complained about his bossy mother, and for the young blonde, it hadn't even been a day. Well, not everyone had their parents sealed inside them and could hear their scoldings constantly because of it, so he considered himself to be a particular case. Now, the Uzumaki had to meet the Hokage Gramps. He'll be completely shocked, maybe to the point of having a heart attack, but the boy had no choice. He knew everything, and that was part of the plan. Hokage's office, 6 p.m. Hiruzen already heard a report about Naruto's actions today at the academy thanks to Irika. An odd behavior coming from the troublemaker, but a welcome one. If it were due to the gesture of Yamanaka Ryo, he would have to thank her as if she were a world savior, because she changed the future for the better. To his surprise, his protégé came to see him, this late, entering by the door, and not by the window. Even weirder now. The blonde looked at him seriously, an expression he'd never expected on the young Jinchuriki. He saw anger, sadness, confusion, hate, joy, but never a seriousness rivaling his father's. "We have to talk, Gramps," the child said. "What is it, Naruto?" Hiruzen asked. "I know everything," he replied calmly. Seeing the confused and stressed expression on the old man, he dropped the bomb. "My mom is Uzumaki Kushina, the former Jinchuriki of Kyuubi, and I am the current one." The third almost dropped out of his chair to enter cardiac arrest. Who betrayed the secret? How could Naruto be so calm about this information? Even the hidden ANBU shivered, especially Dog. There was no point in hiding it anymore if the child accepted it so quickly. First of all, Naruto, I must apologize for not telling you the truth. It was for your own good," he noted. "Even if you come to hate me, I can assure you I wanted the best for you. I am ashamed of myself every day for how your life turned out to be." He looked at the Jinchuriki, no trace of anger on his face, only a genuine smile. "Now I must ask you, who told you? This was supposed to be an S-rank secret, punishable by death if revealed to you." Naruto crossed his arms in confusion. "No offense, Gramps, but in that case we should execute most of the villagers. They're not the best at hiding the truth. They call me demon every day. It wouldn't be hard to put two and two together." A faint snort could be heard from outside. He was right. If the Hokage was willing to do so, the ANBU would have been killing citizens every day, every hour. So he must have overheard it in the streets. The third thought. "I don't hate you, why should I? You were there for me, that's enough. I know you like me, or else you would have kicked me out of the village long ago," the blonde replied, grinning. Then his expression changed, he was serious again. "I know there are some ANBU hidden here, and unfortunately, I can't tell you the truth until they leave, it's that important." Hiruzen's eyes widened at the statement, but he needed intel. In a quick wave of the hand, he dismissed his and Naruto's bodyguards. "They're not here anymore, Naruto. You can tell me." "Okay, I know it sounds dumb, but the one who told me is my mom herself. She's sealed with the Kyuubi there," he innocently answered. And now a revelation brought another one, maybe even more serious and dangerous than the first secret. And to Hiruzen's despair, the day wasn't over yet. Yakiniku 8 p.m. As usual, the Inoshikacho were gathered this Friday evening for their friendly dinner around the best meal they could have. The three clan heads, along with their spouses and heirs, were there, discussing about their day. One thing was unexpected, though. Yamanaka Inoichi looked utterly drained ever since he was summoned by the third Hokage late in the afternoon, for an emergency. His wife and daughter noticed it immediately, but couldn't ask. If the man was demanded by Konoha's leader himself, something very private happened. But Naro, Shikaku, and Akimichi Choza weren't bound by these rules. They were eager for answers, privately. The older trio requested a table deep inside the place, near the corner, to talk freely without any prying eyes. "Give me at least 10 cups of your strongest alcohol," Inoichi requested. His friends twitched. The Yamanaka wasn't fond of the substance. Something was definitely wrong. "Okay, you troublesome guy, enough dodging, what the hell happened?" Shikaku asked. The blonde man sighed longer than usual. "You'll know in due time." The Akimichi and the Naro weren't pleased by the response. "Not even a clue?" Choza asked. Inoichi paused and frowned for a few seconds. "Fine. We had to create a new rank for a new secret. I learned something qualified as an S-rank secret." Both interrogators spat out their drinks. What the hell? What could be even more important than something regarding an incoming war or the identity of our Jinchuriki? Choza exclaimed. Shikaku noticed the avoiding eyes of Inoichi at the mention of the Jinchuriki. "Okay, so it's related to the brat. Troublesome." The Yamanaka clan had sighed for a second time, replaying the events in his head. He was shocked for the second time because of the same kid. Flashback, Hokage's office, 6:15 p.m. The mind reader was convoked in the room by the Hokage for an emergency. The old man was standing on the right side of a smiling Uzumaki Naruto, while Hiruzen looked like he had seen a ghost. The room was surrounded by silencing and concealing seals, so that no one would hear or see what happened here, alerting even more the leader of the tea department. He bowed before the old war veteran. "Lord Hokage, how can I help you?" he asked. "Inoichi. I apologize for taking your time, but we have quite the revelation, to say the least," the third said. The older blonde was intrigued. "No worries, Lord Hokage. What happened?" Hiruzen sighed. "Hold your breath. You know about Naruto's condition, right?" The man nodded in agreement. "The boy learned it from someone," the third Hokage noted. The statement brought sweat drops on Inoichi's face. Whoever revealed the secret was a very dead man. Was he summoned for an interrogation? "It's unfortunate, Lord Hokage. Am I here to interrogate Naruto? Is he mentally well after learning about his burden?" The leader smiled. "I appreciate your concern towards him. Don't worry, he took it better than expected, thanks to the one who told him. In a way, I want you to interrogate him with your technique. I want to verify what he told me." Inoichi raised an eyebrow. "What did he said?" The old man put his hand on his forehead. "It seems there is another person, sealed with the fox. I want you to link the three of us to enter the boy's mindscape together." The Yamanaka shivered. First, forcing his way inside a Jinchuriki's mind was risky, and second, 2 people inside someone's head? That would make any normal person mad, but this kid was showing no sign of folly. He seemed happier than normal, even. Was that due to his clan's strong vitality? "Understood, should we begin?" he asked. The Hokage nodded. "Come here, Naruto. I promise it won't hurt," Inoichi told with a smile. The blonde approached. "Okay, sir. She's eager to see you," he exclaimed with a bright grin, one he never showed in the streets. The clan's head was confused. "She?" but paid no mind. He placed his hands on Naruto and Hiruzen's heads and used his jutsu. Mind transfer. The trio stood on the watery ground, approximately 15 meters in front of the cage. 2 scarlet eyes pierced through the darkness, and a red-haired woman was chuckling uncontrollably, watching the bewildered expression of the 2 adults. Hiruzen was sweating, recollecting every single thing that happened to the boy. Even with his position, he won't avoid the fury of a mother. Inoichi asked himself if he hadn't messed up his technique for the first time in 20 years. He saw many things inside tortured spirits and despicable criminals, but that was a first. Uzumaki Kushina, presumed deceased for 9 years, was here, cackling like the maniac she was, in front of the prison holding her former tenant. Naruto rushed at her for a hug, which she graciously accepted. Despite his small size, he was strong enough to jump and reach her neck, with his head buried in her chest. "How was your day, Naruto?" she asked, patting his back. "Great. That was super fun, but you know it already, right?" he replied with a proud grin. She nodded. "Yeah, sorry for you, but you won't hide any secret from me, young boy. I'm always watching." Both older men joined the scene, still baffled by the sight. "Kushina how?" Hiruzen asked, eyes widened. "The 4th Hokage sealed my chakra here. At first, I was supposed to help him the day he would break the seal to fight the fox, but instead, Kyuubi gave me a part of his energy to sustain myself. I'm there with him from the moment he was caged," Kushina explained. They noted how she mentioned her husband. 4th Hokage, not his actual name. "I see. I assume you are greatly disappointed by the treatment of your child," the third said apologetically. The red-haired woman clenched her right fist. "You don't say. I knew from experience how stupid the world was for the Jinchurikis, but I hope Naruto wouldn't suffer the same treatment, due to his resemblance to a certain man." She frowned. "I understand why you made it a secret, Lord Third, but do you expect foreign nations not to notice instantly? He's a carbon copy." Inoichi snorted loudly. That was true. All of the ninjas close enough to Minato to know of his relationship with Kushina immediately recognized the boy as their child. That's why Hiruzen had so much trouble with the council, since all of the clan heads wanted to adopt him, while the citizens' part wanted the boy dead for the monstrous power he contained. "He was supposed to know when he would graduate as a Chunin," Hiruzen replied. "Can I ask you to advance the date for his genin graduation instead? He'll be a shinobi by then, and I don't want him to run into vengeful enemies without knowing why," Kushina asked. The old man sighed. "Very well, what about his godfather then?" "Godfather? What's that?" Naruto asked innocently. I'll deal with him when the time comes. The mother replied with a malicious smile. A godfather is someone who would be your father in case both of your parents died, Naruto. Unfortunately, yours is a great ninja, so he couldn't take you with him, that would have been too dangerous. She explained to her oblivious blonde son. Oh, so my godfather is cool? He asked. The former Jinchuriki nodded. Very cool, but a bit special. She dropped the kid gently on the ground and faced the older men. Now, let's talk about why I asked for you to be there. I want to train my son correctly from now on. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. Correctly? What do you mean? I watched. Kushina sighed. I know Mizuki is a piece of crap who intentionally gives Naruto wrong instructions about everything, ever since he entered the academy. You can guess why. Kyuubi and Noichi said. Indeed, right now the only advantage he has is his physical condition, but he's lacking in the rest, and I can remedy that. She grinned. How so? The leader asked, intrigued. I'll teach him myself. The mother replied proudly. I can turn my boy into a proper genin in no time with my experience as a Jinchuriki. I know how hard it must be for him to have proper chakra control, due to his huge reserves. The third paused for a few seconds, thinking about the pros and cons. On the hand, the boy would technically train alone from an outsider's point of view, highly suspicious. On the other hand, there's no better teacher for him than his own mother, the last known Uzumaki and Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. However, this raised a question. That's interesting, Hiruzen said. But what about Kyuubi? Oh, right, the woman said. Come here, she exclaimed, waving her hand at the cage. The darkness behind the bars disappeared, revealing the tailed beast hidden in the shadows. Do you always have to be so loud? Kurama sighed. It runs in the family, I guess. She shrugged off. You have some things to tell them, right? The beast stared at the Hokage. I expected you to be more frightened than that. I fought you 9 years ago, and I'll do it again. What's the meaning of this, Kushina? Hiruzen frowned. I spent 9 years stuck with him, and we talked. A lot. Contrary to our beliefs, he's not some evil douchebag. She explained. Are you sure you're not corrupted? Inoichi frowned. With her chakra and her hot-headed persona? Impossible. The beast smirked. I'm still listening, furball. Kushina commented. I'm either corrupted or controlled. I had enough time to reflect, and we have something of the utmost importance regarding the day of the assault. And what is it? The Hokage asked. The seal didn't fail during her childbirth. It was disrupted by a traitorous Uchiha, who used his damn eye to control me. The fox explained. The old man and the Yamanaka shivered. It was theorized already, but without any trace of intervention from the Uchiha clan, no one could accuse them. In fact, this day raised many tensions between the clan and the higher-ups, who decided to ostracize them, and later, execute them all once they found out about the coup d'etat. So it was true, Hiruzen said, looking defeatedly at the ground. Any idea on who it could be? Uchiha Madara. I don't know how, but this man is still alive. He is the sole person capable of doing this and fighting a shinobi as skilled as the fourth Hokage at the same time. The tailed beast explained. He intervened directly after Naruto was born. Since I was so weak, I couldn't deduce his identity with his chakra signature, but thinking about it, it's the most plausible theory for now. He was masked, and didn't have any trace of implication with the village on his clothes or techniques. Kushina followed, arms crossed. An even more concerning revelation, and the adults weren't hiding their fear. An enemy of this caliber, still alive. The only man who could defeat the strongest Uchiha of history was none other than the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama. If the traitor resurfaced, nothing would prevent him from acting. That's why we decided something, Kushina said. In due time, my son will become a perfect Jinchuriki, without any interference from Kyuubi. I ask of you to give Naruto a hiding place to train with the chakra when the time comes. Hiruzen questioned himself. Would it be wise to let the boy try? Probably not. But if Kushina is inside the seal, she could act as an unbreakable failsafe in case her son would lose himself in power, or if the beast attempted to break free. Very well, is there anything else to know? The third Hokage asked. Well, just that Naruto is in good hands now. Kushina replied with a giant smile. Doesn't mean you don't have to check on him anymore, though. The mother threatened. The veteran snorted. It was good for him to see a familiar face, present in some way in her kid's life. It's good to see you again, Kushina. Your loss affected all of us. And Noichi nodded with a small smile. If I may, Kushina. What is it? The mother asked. You're aware of your kid's prank on my house, right? He asked with a grin. My wife likes the color and is supposed to teach him some lessons about plants. What about he starts training with me? That could be interesting, 2 birds with 1 stone, right? She grinned back. The clan head nodded. Are you interested, Naruto? Training alone isn't really fun, trust me. The boy looked at him, smiling. You're cool, sir. So training with you will be cool. The older Yamanaka chuckled. You can call me Inoichi. What do you think about it, Lord Hokage? I don't have a problem with this, knowing that he'll be monitored by trustworthy people. However, no one must know about Kyuubi or Kushina for now. Hiruzen explained. Everything discussed here is even more private than S rank. So it's S rank? The blonde questioned innocently. The adults snorted loudly. It doesn't exist, but I might make it official for your special case, so yes, everything regarding what happened today is an S rank secret. The third explained. I understand the implications, Lord Hokage. I won't fail you, Inoichi replied. Flashback end. I did say that, but how can I explain the situation to Ryo and Ino without raising any suspicion? The clan head asked himself, drinking his 3rd cup. Just don't question me if you see Naruto roaming in my household. Lord Hokage asked me to supervise him due to specific reasons, Inoichi said to the confused Shikaku and Choza. Okay, if it's that important, I guess the old man will tell us when he'll tell the brat what he truly is. Choza and Inoichi nodded. On another table, the mothers and their kids discussed peacefully about many things, mainly school and shinobi stuff. Oh, by the way, Mom, I spoke to Naruto today. I'll help him with the lessons, the 9-year-old Ino said. Ryo nodded gently. He seems to be a nice kid. I wonder why he's always alone. Must be because of the annoying pranks, Shikamaru commented. Come on, Shikamaru. I know you laugh at some of them sometimes, Choji said. What can I say? When I'm not his target, they're good, but I feel like he's going to behave now. Troublesome, the Nara replied. Yeah, he was very weird today, Ino followed. The exchange raised questions in the mothers' minds. How so? Nara Yoshino asked. He was serious, Shikamaru said. No loud mouth, no pranks, and focused the whole day. His mother frowned. Isn't that a good thing? You could learn a thing or two from him. Yeah, the dark-haired boy sighed. Anyway, that's really strange coming from him. Maybe Lord Hokage scolded him really good this time? They're close, Choji commented. The only way to know is to ask him directly, Akimichi Chomi said with a smile. I'll try, Ino said. If he got some secret to be productive, maybe he can use it on you too, damn slackers. She grinned at her 2 friends. Naruto's apartment, 9 p.m. Thanks to Kushina, learning the academy teachings along with the plants book was pretty easy, despite taking a toll on his developing brain. The blonde was an unending pool of energy, but physically only. Mentally, he had the capacity of an average child of his age, nothing comparable to the IQ of the Nara clan, or the clarity of the Yamanaka clan. Because of this, he was tired earlier than usual, and decided to go to bed. He'll have a good weekend, entirely dedicated to practicing shinobi skills under the tutelage of his lovely mom. Yet, a simple question lingered in his head since he learned he could use Kurama's chakra with the seal. Hey Mom, before I go to sleep, I have a question, he asked. MMH? What is it, my boy? I am the Jinchuriki of Kurama because he's there and I can use his chakra, right? He stated. Correct, kid, the fox replied. So, aren't I technically the Jinchuriki of my mom, too? She's a whole person with her own chakra. In the inner sewer, a loud, feminine hearty laugh was echoing through the place. Damn, her kid was so good at innocently funny comments. That's technically right. Do you have an idea? Naruto chuckled mentally. Doesn't that mean that I could also use your chakra? Both the tailed beast and the Uzumaki paused to process the information, their pupils widening more and more at the realization of what this boy could do. Oh, the possibilities, every ninja in Konoha would be jealous of him. A magnificent gem to polish. Kushina grinned like never before in her life, a solid idea appearing in her head. Naruto, you're a genius. Let me tell you of my special ability. Konoha's forest, 11 a.m. The young blonde took a spot in the forest near the academy, not wanting to be bothered. A test was needed before jumping to conclusions, And if it worked, his peers would be in for a great show during their lifetime. Okay, Naruto. Just do what I say, Kushina instructed. The child nodded. There are two things I want to try. First, if you can use them by yourself, and second, if I can use them without you having to concentrate. Open one of your hands, and tell me if you feel anything. I'm pouring some of my chakra into it, she explained. The boy waited a few seconds, his right palm facing a tree nearby. Suddenly, his hand felt hotter. Something's happening. My hand is warm, he commented to his mother. Good. Now, tell me if there's something on your hand, the janitor said. Naruto analyzed his skin, nothing unusual, unless it was that strange thing. There is a little yellow spot in the middle of my hand. An internal giggle came out of his head. So it can work. Now it's all down to practice. The kid felt several other warmths on his back. What are you doing, Mom? Sending my chakra to other places. It seems you're too inexperienced in chakra control for now to manifest the chains, but in theory, everything will be fine, she said. Are they that hard to use? He asked. You have no idea. The adamantine sealing chains are purely made of chakra. You need great chakra control skills to make them come out of your body, and move them as you wish, Kushina explained. It took me several years to use them properly, but you have an advantage, because I'm here to help, and since it's my chakra forming them, you won't be hindered by your huge reserves for control. You're so cool, Mom, the blonde exclaimed. The red-haired woman chuckled. Aren't I? So from now on, we'll train that and the normal academy stuff. Believe me, you'll be the coolest ninja, you know. Hey, thanks. Should I tell Gramps and Inoichi about it? Naruto asked. Yes, we wouldn't want you to appear suspicious, she replied. But for now, I'll train you for the rest of the hour, then you'll go eat something. Understood, young boy? He nodded furiously with a grin. No problem. Ichiraku's noon. Tucci and Ayam were greeted by a happier-than-usual Naruto, despite the harsh words they heard whispered by the citizens. Both chiefs never understood how vile villagers must be to hate a small child to this point. He was the jailer, not the demon himself. That was something even a toddler could understand, but not the people of Konoha, it seemed. The first time ever he came here, the boy looked like he would shatter at any word pronounced. He was lonely, hungry, sad beyond imagination, without a glimmer of happiness in his void eyes. Yumino Irika brought him for a meal, explaining to them discreetly how much this kid was suffering, even mentioning his parentless life. No more words were needed for Tucci and Ayam, they formed a connection with the orphan instantly. The man acted as a surrogate uncle when Naruto would come, and Ayam was the big sister. With such kindness, the blonde opened to them quickly and became their #1 customer in no time. They knew he would come here on any occasion to numb his blind pain, because despite the huge grin, his lifeless eyes revealed his true feelings. Hence, both of them were pleasantly surprised to see the dark blue abyss shine brilliantly with a genuine smile this time. Whatever happened, they were glad for it. This sweet child was a marvel to admire when genuinely happy. As usual, he ordered multiple bowls of miso ramen with extra pork, and finished them in no time. You look happy, Naruto. Something happened recently? Ayam asked. The child nodded, grinning and with both hands placed on the back of his head. Yeah. I met someone super nice to me, and soon I'll train with a good ninja, so I'm super happy. Both chiefs chuckled. That's good for you, young boy. I know you can become Hokage, Tucci said. Watch me, you too. You'll be the favorite restaurant of the best Hokage ever, he exclaimed. This time, it was Kushina's turn to laugh. If she could, she would have thanked the two kind souls for their generosity towards her son. They were responsible for the rare moments when he was genuinely at peace before she appeared. These memories were her favorites. Could you tell us who that ninja is? Ayam asked. Sure. It's Inoichi, the guy with the mind thingy, Naruto said. Yamanaka Inoichi? He's a great man, you'll have no problem with him, Tucci replied with a smile. Speaking of him, you should hurry, or else you'll be late for the appointment, Kushina commented. His eyes twitched. Oh, right. He faced the father and daughter. I'm meeting him soon, so I have to leave early today. Thanks for telling me about him. Well then, you can't make the man wait. See you soon, Naruto, Tucci said. Yamanaka Flower Shop, 1 p.m. Working as a florist on weekends was the second job of Ino, as the proud daughter of her amazing mother. Well, only for mornings until lunch break, she was still a child after all, yet it made her feel good to be useful, and in the afternoons, her dad would pick her up for training, until she would become a genin. As a future heiress, the girl was already skilled for her age, always in the top students for theoretical teachings, pretty good at taijutsu, and average in weapon usage. She just wished she had a training partner, because her two friends, Shikamaru and Choji, were too lazy to actually try in the sessions at the academy. It pissed her off beyond possible, seeing them doing just fine while she was putting an enormous amount of effort into it. She thought of Sakura, but that was impossible now. They had broken their friendship some years ago for their mutual crush, and the platinum-haired girl had her pride to maintain. She vented many times about it with her father, who usually smiled and replied, "Don't worry, you're doing good." But doing good wasn't what she wanted. The future heiress craved her peak performance before she would become a proper ninja, and no one could grant her that wish. But strangely, her dad answered differently today. He simply grinned, and his body language expressed anticipation. Weird, she thought, but who was she to complain if he thought of something to help her? It was 1 p.m., both of them would leave the household for their personal training grounds in 30 minutes. The girl was leaning on the counter, while her father was drinking his tea, and her mother doing her job as customers were coming to buy flowers. Of course, she could still help her mom, and she was happily doing so, sparing her a good amount of time by picking the plants requested. The bell rang again, announcing the arrival of an unexpected customer. Ino's eyes went wide immediately, while Inoichi shivered a bit, because for a second, he swore he had seen a looming Kushina behind his back. The only normal reaction came from Yamanaka Ryo, greeting the blonde kid. "Hello, Naruto. What are you doing here? Your tests aren't for today, you know?" she said with a light smile. "Hello, ma'am. I'm here for Inoichi. We talked about it yesterday with Hokage Gramps," the boy replied. Both girls glanced at the clan's head. He hadn't told them anything yet. He had to find an excuse first. "I can't tell you the details. Naruto discovered he had a special ability, and Lord Hokage requested me to help him, because he thinks we can provide a good social environment for him. From now on, Naruto will train with us, Ino." Not the partner she hoped, but still someone better than the two bums. Naruto wasn't skilled in the slightest at anything, but no one would question his unending stamina, capable of exhausting every single boy at the academy during their battles without flinching. For anyone else, doing several taijutsu matches back-to-back would tire them out for a week, but for Naruto, it was barely a warm-up, and the Yamanaka heiress was greatly intrigued by this. Maybe she could have answers about his physical condition and his sudden change of behavior, which wasn't displeasing at all. "That's fine by me. Hello, Naruto. You learned some things about plants yet?" The girl offered a handshake and smiled. "Yeah, I finished the part on the basics of gardening yesterday, and I'm pretty sure I can recite everything," he said with a grin, returning the handshake. His answer greatly surprised the daughter and mother. Learning already this much in so little time? It seems like the child was extremely resourceful when invested, another good point about him that Ino noted. "We'll see about this, young man," Ryo said. Inoichi stood up and walked towards the entrance. "Well then, I'm taking both of them to the clan's training grounds. We should come back for the evening." "Later, you three," the mother exclaimed. Yamanaka clan's training grounds, 2 p.m. The place was a small plain, hidden behind the forest near the flower shop. Here, they could fight as much as they wanted or practice any jutsu. Inoichi was walking on eggs. While he technically didn't lie about Naruto having a special ability, that wasn't something he could reveal, and her daughter was extremely curious by nature, especially when something piqued her interest, for instance, the dead last becoming serious and discovering a cool thing about him. That's why he stealthily casted a technique to talk with the boy in his mind. "Naruto, we'll have a few minutes to come up with a good lie about you having a special ability, because we can't say anything about the nine-tailed fox. Do you or Kushina have any idea?" the man asked. "No worries, Inoichi," Kushina said. "We just learned something very interesting this morning. My boy can use my chakra, meaning that with proper practice, he could actually use the adamantine sealing chains. No need for a lie." Her pride could be felt through the mental link. Inoichi stopped in his tracks. "Why, you're serious? Have you talked about it to Lord Hokage yet?" "No, I'll tell him after I'm done for today," Naruto said. "Your potential is going through the roof, young boy," Inoichi mentally sighed. "Thanks for the save, anyway." "Yeah, Naruto's awesome, you're welcome," Kushina grinned. Ino was drowning in questions, and she had one eating away at her curiosity. "So, what's your special thing? If you don't mind telling me, of course." Naruto had to lie about the nature of his discovery, but it didn't mean he had to undervalue how cool his mom's bloodline limit was. Hokage Gramps called it the adamantine sealing chains. he replied proudly, raising his torso and crossing his arms. An ability from my clan, the Uzumaki. We can produce chains of chakra, strong enough to create barriers and restrain any type of enemy. The platinum-haired girl had stars in her eyes, dumbfounded by such a useful technique. Wow, that's cool. How did you even find out? And you're coming from a clan too? Naruto blushed a bit. It was the first time someone of his age told him he was cool. It was nice for once to know what kind of treatment Uchiha Sasuke received every day. Thanks. I accidentally produced a chain yesterday when I trained my chakra control, but I never succeeded in doing it again. I told Hokage Gramps about it, and now I'm under your dad's care, he replied, turning his head. Gramps had to explain to me about my clan since it's an ability coming from them. Apparently, I'm the last of them. They were wiped out during the war. The heiress went from excitement to regret instantly. If Naruto was from a clan, surely he must have a family somewhere, and even that was ripped from him because of the stupid world. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Internally, Kushina was impressed by her son's performance. He came up with a solid lie on the spot while mixing a little bit of truth into it, a great quality for a shinobi. You're a good liar, young boy, she said. Yeah, but I don't like it, he commented. I don't want to lie to potential friends. The red-haired woman smiled. You are a special case, Naruto. You can't really tell the full truth for now. Don't worry, it's not a big deal, everyone hides things. It's fine, I kinda expected it, since no one came for me in 9 years. I'm an orphan, I accepted it, one day I'll be the Hokage and the whole village will be my family, he replied to the saddened girl. The answer produced a huge amount of respect for the boy in Ino's head. So it's not a childish reason, and he's more mature than he lets appear, she thought. And here I thought you were a moron. The girl smiled. I misjudged you, sorry about that. No problem, it's not like I was acting intelligent anyway, he replied. Ino snorted. Yup, but you finally dropped the mask, huh? We were all surprised yesterday. You could say that. Being seen as the dead last becomes tiring. Thanks for proposing your help, by the way, the Jinchuriki said, grinning. MH? Oh, about plant stuff? It's not a big deal, as I said, you'll be with me for a long time, it's better if we're friends, she explained. The blonde child was stunned. Friends? He asked, eyes wide opened. Yeah. You don't want to? She said, looking confused. Of course I want to, he exclaimed, startling the heiress. It's just you'll be my first friend, I don't know how it works, he sadly replied. Oh, that's right, she noted. The kid was a saddened mess behind the joyful mask. Fortunately, she wasn't the type of person to let someone in the dirt once they proved they had guts, and he had plenty of it. Well, that's something else for you to learn. I'm sure you can pull that off, it's not hard, Ino replied, asking for a second handshake. From now on, we're friends, the blonde duo of Konoha with super cool techniques, she exclaimed, smiling brightly. If he didn't have his mother to close the gaping wounds in his heart, he would be crying already. She's a really nice girl, he thought. The blonde offered his hand again, and smiled. Thanks, Ino. You're a nice girl. I'm the most awesome girl in the class, a shame Sasuke can't see it. She shrugged off. Oh, just found a default. Naruto chuckled. I can hear you, Uzumaki, she replied, playing the annoyed girl. In the inner sewer, the mother was grinning like a maniac. Cute! Kushina screamed internally, a devious scheme planned already. Inoichi was pleased by this development. Teaching two friends was better than teaching two bickering children. He educated his daughter well, she'll get a reward for her maturity. He approached to rub her head. I'm proud of you, Ino. You've proven that you are smarter than your peers in the social department, as expected from a Yamanaka. The heiress blushed. Thanks, Dad. The clan's head smiled. Now, we'll start the training. Do you have an idea of what you should work on, Naruto? Everything from the academy. Mizuki-sensei taught me badly on purpose because he doesn't like me, and my chakra control is really awful. I need to improve on that for the chains, he commented. Ino twitched. You're serious? Mizuki-sensei is working against you? Yeah, Hokage Gramps told me so. He found out about it because Mizuki-sensei gave me a different written test from everyone. He shrugged off. Another good lie, well done, Kushina complimented. The platinum-haired girl frowned. What a douchebag. Okay, I can work with that, basics aren't complicated to learn, Inoichi said. You have a far better teacher stuck inside of you, anyway, he noted. Ino, we'll do the same to perfect your skills, And I'll also start to teach you the basics for our mind jutsus. You're fine with this? Yes. Absolutely. She exclaimed excitedly. Then we're beginning now, he said to the fired-up duo. Yamanaka household, 7 p.m. A fulfilling day for both shinobis in the making. Inoichi had a glimpse of how relentless his new apprentice was, asking for more exercises the whole afternoon, while his daughter nearly passed out, trying to keep up with him. Truly, a Uzumaki coupled with the strongest-tailed beast was an unfair combo. No wonder the first Hokage wanted to make it a tradition. Despite what he claimed, Naruto wasn't that bad either. His skills were poorly refined, sure, but he had no real trouble in the physical category thanks to how hard he worked. If he managed to find out what was wrong with his chakra control during the remaining years, he would do just fine for the graduation exam. They ended the training at 6:30 p.m. Inoichi didn't check the time and feared his wife's scolding if they were late for dinner. They returned at 7 p.m., right on time, but the sweat drops on his face when he glanced at an angry smiling Rio were everything the children needed to know how bad the situation was. My dear husband, could you explain to me why the kids are late and covered in dirt for dinner? She asked menacingly. The father raised his hand apologetically and smiled. Sorry, dear. I was too excited about their performance, and didn't check the time. Is that true, kids? Rio asked, crossing her arms. Yeah, Naruto is a stamina freak, Ino commented. If it wasn't for him, we would be here 1 hour earlier. Hey, you said you wanted a good partner? Not my fault if you can't keep up with me. Naruto shrugged off. Don't play dumb, you know full well that no one in our class can keep up with you, the heiress replied. Besides, I'm a girl, it's normal that you're physically stronger than me. Yeah, keep coming up with excuses. The blonde grinned. The truth is that I beat you fair and square. The girl stuck out her tongue. Note to self, fry the little Uzumaki's brain with the clan's techniques later. Inoichi snorted loudly. I wouldn't recommend that, Uzumaki's minds are scary. He joked. Well, unless you want to meet the scariest mother of existence, he thought. Rio glanced at the children, smiling. I guess there was something more than training between you two. Ino nodded. Yeah, we're friends now, can't wait for him to motivate Choji and Shikamaru, she exclaimed proudly. Naruto chuckled. I know I'm awesome, but you're asking for a miracle here. Shikamaru motivated? Impossible. It's worth a shot. The platinum-haired girl shrugged off. Anyway, dinner will be ready soon, but first you'll take a much-needed shower, Rio said. Ino, can you lend Naruto some spare clothes? Some of yours are boyish and can fit. Sure. It's time he got rid of this eye-bleeding orange. The girl grinned. Hey, orange is great. It's super flashy, the blonde argued. Yeah, everything we don't want for a shinobi. She smirked. You'll come shopping with me next week, no arguing, unless you want me to buy you a skirt. Oh? A date already? You moved on from Sasuke really quick, my girl. Rio smirked. An automatic defensive mechanism surged on the heiress's body, glancing furiously at her mother. Don't even try to tease me, Mom. But the adult wasn't convinced. Her smirk became stronger each second passing by. The staring match was interrupted by the oblivious boy. What's a date? He asked, his head turned at 45 degrees to the right. Something for adults. Inoichi sighed. Come on, go take a bath, you two. You can go first, Naruto, Ino said. Okay, he replied. The boy was given some clothes, a yellow shirt and somber purple pants. Due to his smaller size compared to the other boys, it fitted him perfectly. The platinum-haired friend even thought it suited him well, but Naruto wasn't buying it. No trace of orange meant it wasn't cool for him, much to her disappointment. I swear I'll make you see the light one day, she threatened. Ino took a longer time for her bath, something that confused the blonde. It's common knowledge, Naruto. Girls care about their looks, Kushina explained. And her statement was proven right the moment the heiress exited the bathroom. There was no denying, she was indeed good-looking with her purple pajamas and loose hair reaching her shoulders. Not that it affected him though, he preferred long hair, which Sakura already had. Rio cooked a lot of things that Naruto didn't recognize, all that mattered was that it tasted good. You're a good cook, ma'am. It's as good as Ichiraka, he commented with a smile. Well, thank you, Naruto. I'm flattered if I can rival a restaurant, she replied. What do you usually eat, by the way? Since you'll come here often, I'd like to know your favorite meals. The blonde child hummed for a few seconds, looking at the ceiling. Tonkatsu ramen, shoyu ramen, miso ramen, and started listing every existing receipt from Ichiraku. The three Yamanaka shivered at each reply. Surely that wasn't the only thing the boy knew, right? So only ramen? The bewildered mother asked. Yeah, the other restaurants don't let me come, only Tucci and I am. I can cook some things, but ramen does the thing for me, he innocently replied. I'm definitely reporting this to Lord Hokage. They're so lucky Kushina is sealed. Inoichi thought, slightly angry about the boy's statement. No citizen should refuse a kid coming into their shop. Ino's eyes went wide. Why would anyone let someone starve in the streets? Was the village full of scumbags? And he still wanted to become their leader? Rio was hiding her boiling motherly fury. No child in her sight was allowed to be hungry. Well then, would you like to learn to cook with me? His eyes lit up. Yeah. Thank you. Naruto learned more things about the Yamanaka tonight. What their jutsus were about, what was their relationship with the Nara and Akimichi clans, even personal things such as Ino's birthday, a very important date to know about a friend. September 23rd, meaning she was slightly older than him, and she liked to tease the blonde about it. After dinner, it was time for him to tell Hokage Gramps about his peculiar ability. Obviously, his reaction was golden. Naruto was full of surprise, and the old man made it clear that no one would hinder his development. Inoichi told him how his first session turned out, and Hiruzen was already pleased. Everything was going accordingly. The Jinchuriki would become a fantastic shinobi. Naruto's apartment, 9 p.m. The Jinchuriki was already asleep, reaching his inner world. Waking up in a sewer was becoming frustrating for him, and he thought that his residence deserved better than that. Hey Mom, Kurama. Isn't there a way to make this place better? It kinda sucks. It's your mindscape, brat. You can imagine whatever you want to make it real, Kurama replied. Yeah, just think hard about how you picture this world. The sewer is a blank state, due to your insecurities and lack of knowledge, but now you should be able to redesign it. Kushina explained. The blonde grinned. He could create his perfect environment here. He was thinking hard about how it should be. The more he thought, the more the place changed. Until the dark walls were replaced by wooden constructs, the watery ground now completely solid, and the labyrinth was now organized. Naruto created a house, with everything needed, an equipped kitchen, living room, bathroom, chambers for the tenants, and a flowery garden. The red-haired lady was baffled. Without knowing it, her son created a home akin to her own when she was alive. Wow, you're a good builder, Naruto, she noted with a smile. Better than I expected, even if I'm still stuck behind a cage, Kurama commented. At least I have a whole garden for myself. He smirked. Sorry, I tried everything, but I can't remove the bars, Naruto said apologetically. The mother snorted. Well, that's the goal of a seal. You made a whole house, thank you for the hospitality, I can sleep too now. Both of them examined the new mindscape. A real cozy home, a good place to enter during his dream. Naruto and Kushina sat face to face, separated by the table in the living room. A weird feeling to act as if he was awake even though he was sleeping, but he could finally have a semblance of normal life with his mother. Hey Naruto. What do you think of this girl? She's cute, right? Kushina asked, not hiding her grin. I guess? Just like all girls? Why do you ask, Mom? The clueless son replied. For nothing, just wanted to know your opinion, she said. No worries, your mom approves, she seems to be a good friend. Yeah, I'm glad she's there. I bet I'll need your approval for anyone now, right? He chuckled. Yup, you'll be a good kid, no fishy friends, she confirmed. Next Monday, 7 a.m. He was slowly improving, thanks to the teachings of Kushina and Inoichi, plus having Ino as a partner. As expected, girls had better chakra control, and she was smart enough to give him advice. She quickly noticed how much chakra he used for the leaf exercise, making it fly instead of floating. Turns out the blonde was a pure mass of chakra by himself. No wonder he was never tired if she guessed his reserves correctly. But now the problem was apparent. He had to isolate a small part of his huge pool, a feat nearly impossible for a young kid. The only way to correct this was pure practice. They just had to hope that it would come fast enough for his graduation exam. Naruto was preparing to leave his apartment for the academy. The routine given by Kushina was effective, waking up at 6 a.m., taking his time for a good breakfast, a quick turn in the bathroom at 7 a.m., and then he could go. Opening the door, he was stunned by the sight of the girl waiting before him. Damn, seeing you coming out early feels wrong, Ino said. What are you doing here? How do you even know where I live? Naruto asked. I'm picking you up, just friends things, duh. She shrugged off. I asked my dad for your address. He smiled, a strange warmth traveling through his body. Thanks, we can go, I don't want to be late. Walking through Konoha's streets alongside him was an eye-opening experience for Ino. She knew Naruto was disliked by the villagers, yet her perception was an understatement. The stares he received were hateful, piercing his soul, begging for him to disappear, as if he had committed an irredeemable crime. Despite her confidence, the platinum-haired girl was becoming uncomfortable in front of so many ill-willed glares directed at her innocent friend. She was almost clinging to him. What the hell is wrong with them? He's just a prankster, she questioned internally. Naruto noticed her unusual behavior when he glanced at her. Something's wrong? No, nothing, it's just the first time I'm walking with a boy, she lied. He frowned, not understanding what was wrong with that. Oh, okay. Want me to stand a little bit further? The heiress twitched. Was he oblivious to the hate? No, of course not. He was ignoring them, and cared about her enough not to be seen with her if she judged it necessary. But she wasn't a trash bag like the others. She had already helped a bullied Sakura before, turning the shy flower into a malicious toxic plant, so helping a bullied new friend to prove he was worthy of being acknowledged was a simple task by now, and Naruto was far better than Forehead in terms of friendliness, and soon, skills. No, it's okay, we'll be like this every morning now, Ino replied with a smile. Inside the seal, Kushina was having the time of her life, watching her cute son develop a great bond. This girl was an absolute gem too. She'd better learn to the clueless boy how to deal with her before she slipped through his grasp. Konoha's Ninja Academy, 8 a.m. Once again, the whole class was dumbfounded by the sight of a studious Uzumaki Naruto, immersed in the schoolbooks, without pulling any mischief. Furthermore, he wasn't sitting in his usual place, near Uchiha Sasuke. This time, he was sitting next to Yamanaka Ino, who paid no mind, when she would normally bicker with Sakura to know who would be granted the place next to the dark-haired cool boy. A greatly confused pink-haired girl approached them during lunch break. What's that, Ino pig? Finally admitting I'm better and targeting someone worth your league? Sakura taunted. The platinum-haired girl rolled her eyes and sighed. Should have expected that coming from you, Forehead. You're desperate for attention, aren't you? Nah, just wondering what you're doing with Mr. Dead last here. Not that I care, thanks to you, I got rid of the annoying blonde. Guess you two are a good pair of loudmouths. Sakura smirked. Traces of annoyance were showing on Ino's face. That girl wasn't showing any maturity despite having so much space for a huge brain in her forehead. We're friends. What will you do, bother us and replace Naruto for the noise? He is becoming far better than you socially. You won't get Sasuke by being a constant immature brat, Forehead, she replied fiercely. The whole class was speechless by her statement. The popular Yamanaka heiress and the dead last being friends? How was such a thing possible, or even tolerable? What the hell happened in a single weekend? Even the lazy Shikamaru was glancing at the duo, full of questions. Strangely, the boy they were fighting about was as silent as a corpse, still focused on a specific part of his book. The angered Sakura noticed his behavior, and was even more pissed, because under normal circumstances, he would already apologize for Ino Pig's statement, not wanting to lose his chance with the pink-haired girl. Is that true, Naruto? She asked in a cold tone. No answer. An unforgivable sin for her. Hey, Naruto! Ino sighed. Go on, Naruto. Tell the frustrated Forehead that our friendship is very real. Her soft voice brought the Jinchuriki out of his commitment. Huh? Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you, I was too focused, he said, grinning and scratching the back of his head. The Yamanaka snorted in amusement. Honestly, a serious Naruto is dangerous. Don't start acting like Sasuke, please. She smirked. Anyway, Sakura wanted to know if we were friends. Naruto looked at a frowning Sakura. Oh. Yeah, it's true, Ino is super nice, we've been friends since last Saturday. For a reason the pink-haired girl couldn't explain, his words hurt her more than she thought. Ino was curious about what kind of thing could make her blonde fellow completely absorbed to the point of not paying attention to the girl he loved. What were you reading, by the way? She asked. Stuff about sealing jutsus, that's pretty neat, he replied. Sakura snorted. You learning about sealing jutsus? Even I struggle with that. He frowned in confusion. Really? That's easy for me, I can help if you want. Now, even Sasuke was surprised. Sealing jutsu was a complicated practice, even for him. If Naruto had facilities in this category, he would gladly ask him about it. Unfortunately, Sakura thought differently. Not in a billion chance, I'm sure I know more than you do already. She shrugged off and returned to her sitting place. See? I told you this girl was a no-no, Kushina said angrily. No one would mock her son, especially in Uzumaki learning about sealing techniques. I'm sure she's nice, Mom. She's just angry because I wasn't paying attention to her, Naruto replied, not sure about his excuse. What an idiot. Ino sighed. If she doesn't want to, I'm taking the offer, Naruto, she said. No problem, that's something I really understand. The Jinchuriki smiled. Shikamaru and Choji approached the blonde duo, eager for answers. So it's true? You're buddies now? Choji asked. Yeah, and I hope you don't mind if he's with us now, Ino replied. That's fine with me, we were already hanging out with Naruto sometimes, the Akimichi commented. A bossy girl and the prankster, troublesome. At least I won't be targeted by you now, Naruto, Shikamaru said. Really? You're fine with me? You know I'm not very liked, right? The blonde boy asked, eyes widened. So what? I'm not particularly liked either, since I'm lazy, Shikamaru replied. Choji and Ino nodded. If Ino decided to include you, we can't say no, you know how bossy she is, Choji commented. It's for your own good, she shrugged off. Plus, Naruto will help me to motivate you now. The orphan looked at the friendly trio, grinning strongly. He was finally accepted somewhere, the first step to greatness. Konoha's Ninja Academy's training grounds, 3 p.m. The afternoon was dedicated to pure practical shinobi skills. No more lessons, it was time for action, the favorite part of Naruto. Here, they could spar with anyone and practice their weapon usage, chakra control, or jutsus, for the bravest ones. Naruto decided to do some chakra control exercises, with the help of his platinum-haired friend. The adamantine sealing chains were still a secret except for Ino, so he had to tell something else if the others asked questions. Under the guidance of Kushina, he started a completely different way to practice. The chains would move fluidly and rapidly. He couldn't simply maintain a leaf in balance above his forehead as usual, because the purpose of this exercise was to improve the flow of his inner chakra, when his ability required the inverse. He put his hand inside a glass of water and started pouring chakra on it. As usual, he used too much of it, and the liquid began to heat up rapidly. However, he remained unfazed, as the goal of this practice was to order the water's movements with chakra alone, until he could physically pick it up like a cord. An extremely difficult task for a young boy, but he had no choice if he wanted to catch up to his comrades. What are you doing? Ino asked. Something your dad told me to do, the blonde lied. I put my hand full of chakra into the water to create a current, and when I'll master that thing, I could grab it. Wow, that's cool. You're doing fine? She said. Not really, I don't even succeed at the leaf exercise, and this one is even more difficult, Naruto replied. Why would my dad ask you to do that if you haven't even mastered the basics? The girl raised an eyebrow. The boy waved his hand discreetly, asking her to approach. It's for the chains, he whispered. The Yamanaka nodded silently, even if she didn't understand why he should hide such a strong technique. She guessed it was probably because he wanted to pull it off correctly before showing it to the class, or else he would be the laughingstock again. Well, if it can help you, just know that for the leaf exercise, I think of my chakra flow as a string coming out of my forehead, sticking it on the leaf, until it reaches the height I desire to make it float where I want, just like a growing tree. The comparison enlightened Naruto's mind. If he just had to think of his chakra as something else to make it work, then he would do exactly that. He began to picture his energy as a spinning helix, and after a few minutes, he noticed a glimpse of a vortex forming inside the water. Look! It's working! You're a genius, Ino! The blonde exclaimed, proud of this achievement. Kushina internally nodded. Even with her experience, it was hard to explain to her son how chakra control functioned, because for a shinobi of her caliber, it was akin to explaining how she was breathing. In this particular case, another child would come up with a better explanation. Good job, little girl, she thought. Ino smiled, amazed by his feat. Maybe he was a hidden genius, after all. You're welcome, thanks for noticing how great I am. The two kids resumed their training until the end of the afternoon. With her advice, the kid progressed quickly, be it in close quarters combat, weapon usage, or chakra control. That girl was a walking box of good ideas for him, always ready with good suggestions. To thank her, he tried his best to explain what he understood about sealing jutsus, to no avail. It wasn't that Naruto was bad at explaining, Just that sealing techniques were too alien for most people, the main reason why the practice itself was a specialty requiring decades of study. As a Uzumaki, he had no trouble with it, yet he was the only child of his generation able to understand such concepts this young. One problem remained for the Jinchuriki: he still couldn't create a proper clone despite working so hard on it. While he wasn't discouraged, Ino was confused about his inability. The technique itself was simple, not chakra costly, and learned by any student during their second year at the academy. Yet, all of his imaginary doppelgangers were deformed and barely lasted a second, a sign of chakra overuse. How great are his reserves? She questioned herself. If only there was another jutsu to create a clone with more chakra, he would be able to create several without a problem, but to her knowledge, nothing came to her mind. Yamanaka Flower Shop, 5:30 p.m. Both of them returned home 30 minutes after school's end. They were fired up for the incoming training with Inoichi, especially Naruto, who was requested by Kushina to try to manifest the chains again, due to how much he had progressed already. The clan's head was waiting for them already in the garden, wondering why the boy was so excited. "How was your day, you two?" he asked. "Great," they replied in sync. "I improved super fast, there's something I want to try," Naruto exclaimed. "Oh? That's convenient, because me too," Inoichi replied with a smile. The duo glanced at him with a bit of anticipation and confusion. "What is it?" Ino questioned. "I have good news, Ino. I'm going to teach you the mind transfer." The girl jumped joyfully for a hug. "Really? I love you, Dad." "No need to thank me, Princess. I judge that you are strong enough to learn it," Inoichi replied. "Time to go, kids." Yamanaka Clan's Training Grounds, 6 p.m. "Okay, we have an hour before dinner, so we'll try what Naruto wants, and I'm teaching you the basics for the mind transfer," the older Yamanaka explained. The blondes nodded in agreement. "First of all, you must know how it works. Your chakra will travel through your body to reach the brain of your opponent. Think of it as a second body rushing at your enemy and entering inside of him," he said, waiting for his daughter to nod. "Second, once you're possessing someone, you may have to fight for control, depending on their mental strength. That's the hardest part, because you have no way to know in advance, and if you're rejected, you'll need several seconds before coming back to your senses." "How do I fight for control?" the heiress asked. "Generally, you brute force your way through their spirit. If you're not strong enough, you're out," Inoichi commented. "And then, for the last part, if you want to leave the body you're controlling, you must release any trace of your chakra inside the enemy, as if you were expelling air from every pore of your skin." The girl frowned. "It seems complicated." Her dad nodded. "We're messing with the brain, after all. But don't worry, I'll be your guinea pig. I know what to do if something bad happens." "Oh, okay then," Ino replied. Inoichi looked at Naruto. "What do you want to try?" The Jinchuriki grinned. "The chains. I think I can create them." Both Yamanaka's eyes went wide. "Already? I hope you're not joking," the adult begged. "Absolutely not," he replied. "Then show us." "I want to see," Ino exclaimed excitedly. "You heard her, young boy. Let's show them," Kushina said, already pouring her chakra into her son's right hand. Naruto knew how he could succeed. He had to think of Kushina's chakra as his own, and then picture the flow coming out of the warm yellow spot. As soon as he would feel the warmth, he'll release his chakra for the initial burst. His right arm faced the empty air. Eyes closed, he began to focus, imagining the restraining tool of chakra launched to the nearby tree. His hand became hotter and hotter each second passing by, until he could physically feel something ready to exit his skin. The two Yamanaka watched in disbelief as a single golden spiky chain surged out of Naruto's hand, launched at the tree, and impaled the trunk. Now all he had to do was to make it move as he wanted, so he pictured it as a cord he could manipulate with his will. The spiky end of the chain retracted from the tree, and the whole weapon of chakra began to spin and elongate itself around the area, until it finally disappeared slowly. Naruto was grinning like a maniac, looking at the two dumbfounded blondes. "Told ya." In the inner house, Kushina was cackling. "You're a natural genius, that's splendid." Even Kurama showed a glimpse of surprise before his host's performance. Doing that so young, not bad. In the real world, Ino looked like she saw a miracle, mouth agape and starry eyes widened. Amazing. She was already picturing how good his special ability would be paired with her own. Its restraining capacity was probably on par with the Nara's shadow possession. "That's it," I want him on my team, she begged internally. Inoichi analyzed the product of his apprentice's training. One chain damaged the large wooden structure to the point of marking it profoundly, and it was fast enough to be used as a great whip, too. He had no clue about Kushina's proficiency, but if the stories were true, this young Uzumaki would be a formidable force to reckon. Another report for Lord Hokage, he thought. 3 years later, Ninja's Academy, 4 p.m. The majority of the class was tense. Something big would be announced by Yumino Irika in the next seconds, the contents of the incoming genin graduation exam. The teacher looked at the program and frowned. One technique would probably give trouble to his favorite student. The exam will take place here, next Monday, he said. You'll have to show your mastery over the transformation and clone jutsus. There is a bonus trial for pupils coming from clans, where you can display one of your special techniques to earn bonus points. You will be judged by Lord Hokage himself, but you won't be penalized in case you're not good enough. Mizuki smirked at the mention of the cloning technique. The fox brat still can't produce one, he'll be forced to fail, and his plan could be put into action. He just needed to wait until the end of the day. Soon enough, the demon would be no more. In the back seats, the quartet of 12-year-old friends was already discussing, concerned about the blonde's success. In 3 years, the boy had improved like no one else. He was one of the best in taijutsu, had solid basics for weapon usage, and a knack for simple sealing jutsus. The Jinchuriki only lacked in the genjutsu category, due to his average chakra control, but it wasn't a problem since he couldn't even be caught by one, thanks to Kushina disrupting his chakra flow as soon as he was trapped within an illusion. His enthusiasm even rubbed off on the lazy Narayer, who was forced by the two blondes and his mother to actually try and not be satisfied with the bare minimum. Ino was showing signs of anxiety. If one person deserved to be a genin, that was her best friend, who had worked extremely hard ever since he practiced with her and Inoichi. Damn, this sucks. You're really unlucky, Naruto, Shikamaru commented. Yeah, Naruto sighed. I'll work my ass off to master the clone technique in 1 week, and if it doesn't work, I guess I'll try to earn a maximum of points with the clan's trial. His statement confused the Akimichi and the Nara. It was the first time he ever mentioned his particularity to them. You've got a special clan's technique? Choji asked. Right, I've never talked to you about it, sorry, the blonde said. Yeah, I can do some stuff with chakra chains. I found out about it 3 years ago, but I didn't want to show it yet. It's hard to do. Hey, don't underestimate yourself. From my point of view, it's awesome, you could have shut many mouths with it, Ino commented. Maybe, but I don't do this to show off. He shrugged off. Well, the best thing I can say now is good luck to you, Shikamaru commented. Same for me, it would be a shame if you didn't pass because of that, Choji followed. Naruto nodded. Thanks guys, I'll do my best as usual. 1 hour later, most of them left the room, and Naruto was interrupted by Mizuki, who wanted to tell him something in private. Fishy. Both he and his mother thought, knowing full well the teacher's animosity towards the Jinchuriki. Just play along, if it's a trap, we'll report it to Lord Hokage, Kushina instructed. The teacher had a false smile on his face. Hey Naruto, I know how hard the cloning technique is for you, so you probably won't pass the exam, but there is another way to graduate, he explained. He's full of crap. You only pass or fail, the mother said coldly. Really? How nice of you, Mizuki-sensei. What should I do? Naruto asked. There is a certain scroll in the Hokage Tower, with plenty of forbidden jutsus, Mizuki noted. If you can steal it without being spotted, it proves you have great stealth skills, therefore, you automatically pass as a genin. Kushina chuckled. He's gonna enjoy his stay at the tea department. We're reporting that to Hiruzen immediately. I see, yeah, it's obvious. A good ninja must be furtive. Thanks for the advice, Mizuki-sensei, I won't fail you, the blonde exclaimed, containing his laughter. This annoying Chunin was done for. Mizuki smirked. I'm sure you won't, Naruto. Now you can leave, I wish you good luck, I have great expectations for you. The blonde didn't waste no time and instantly rushed towards the Gramps' office. Hokage's office, 5:30 p.m. The door was opened with a good impact, startling the old man. Usually, the boy would walk through the window, but this time he decided to enter somewhat normally. Naruto? Is there something wrong? The third asked. You bet there is. Mizuki bastard is doing some bullcrap again, you know, Naruto exclaimed, crossing his arms. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. Mizuki's dubious behavior was known, but he didn't leave any clues to prove his treachery. Maybe it was finally time to subdue him thanks to the Jinchuriki he despised so much. What does he want? Hiruzen asked. He told me I would fail the graduation because I suck at creating clones, and that there is a special way to graduate anyway if I stole some scroll full of forbidden techniques. The old man frowned. What an evil prick! The council would require Naruto to be executed if he even tried. Then a question surged in his head. You still have trouble with the clone jutsu? Inoichi told me you had no problem controlling your bloodline limit, so I quite don't understand the problem with this simple technique. That's because I use my mom's chakra to produce them, who has a lesser amount than me. With my reserves, even if I use the bare minimum I can isolate, it's still too much. It's infuriating. Naruto explained, sighing. The third rubbed his beard. I see, troublesome indeed. I wasn't expecting you to have so much chakra at your disposal, possibly a result of your lineage and having the nine-tailed fox sealed inside you since your birth. Yeah, that's how my mother explained it too. Doesn't solve my issue though. The exam is coming next week and I still can't do a proper clone. The blonde pouted angrily. The war veteran was thinking deeply. This boy was a special case in so many ways. The old-fashioned graduation system couldn't objectively rate his performance due to his specific problems that would occur once in a century. But giving him a pass despite failing the basic technique would be considered blatant favoritism from the point of view of the council and his unknowing comrades. Was there truly no way to remedy this predicament? Then, something lit up. The scroll among all the forbidden techniques written on this paper, there was one that was deadly for most shinobis, due to the quantity of chakra required to pull it off. But for him, that would barely affect his body. The old man commented. Hiruzen smirked. Naruto, I think I can help you. Huh? How so? Naruto asked, confused. Inside the scroll Mizuki told you to steal, there is one jutsu called the Shadow Clone. The Hokage explained. It is a B-rank forbidden technique, because it creates physical copies of yourself, capable of using everything the original can do, and also sending their memories to the caster once they're dispelled. Due to this special ability, producing one doppelganger requires a huge amount of chakra, but I believe it won't be a problem for you. The Jinchuriki was listening carefully, eyes filled with stars. That's neat. But it's a super secret scroll. You're sure I have the right to learn it, Gramps? Hiruzen snorted. Under normal circumstances, no. But I'm the Hokage boy. If I grant you permission to learn it, no one can discuss my orders, he said. If someone questions my actions, I'll simply tell them that it's a personal reward for having flushed out a potential traitor. Mizuki-sensei, right? What should I do about him? The blonde questioned. Nothing, Naruto. I'll have him be interrogated by the tea department. His mischief today is vile enough to permit it. Hiruzen replied while standing up. Now then, are you ready for a personal teaching from me? He asked with a smile. Naruto grinned. A lesson from Gramps himself, so cool. After spending 10 minutes reading the instructions on the scroll, the Jinchuriki was ready for a test. In theory, it was a piece of cake, using the proper hand seal, picturing the numbers of clones in his head, then releasing the chakra. Not too much at once not to suffer from brain injury due to the quantity of information when they'll dispel, and everything should be fine. Shadow Clone Jutsu! Naruto exclaimed, 10 puffs of white smoke appearing behind him, revealing 10 perfect doppelgangers. So, how did I do? The 11 blondes asked in sync. Hiruzen smiled. It seems you'll graduate without any problem. I'm proud of you, Naruto. I'm eager to tell you the full truth about your father. The boy twitched. Oh, right that. I almost forgot Mom will kill me, he said, scratching the back of his head and dispelling his clones. No worries, you're as much of an airhead as I am. Kushina replied, embarrassed at the fact that she, too, forgot about it. Well then, if you have nothing more to say, you can leave, young boy. I wish you good luck for the exam, the third said. Yamanaka Flower Shop, next Monday, 7 a.m. He was definitely prepared and wanted to surprise everyone. First of all, he decided that for once, he would pick his female friend up at her household instead of the usual arrangement. And second, he had to honor his mom and the Yamanaka clan who helped him that much. That's why he clothed himself in a dark purple shirt, covered by an open small light orange mantle reaching his waist marked with the black Uzumaki symbol on its shoulders and back with black stripes at the end of the sleeves, along with orange pants and black sandals. The reaction from the Yamanaka heiress was unexpected. How dare he come to the flower shop so soon, picking her up like some sort of prince, looking so cool with his cloak. She loved Uchiha Sasuke, yet she couldn't make her face lie. White and pale blue eyes, mouth agape, and an unending blush due to the image of a good-looking Naruto firmly ingrained in her brain now. What the hell, if you had dressed like that sooner you would have your personal fan club, damn it! She screamed internally. Already a lady killer? Kushina thought, smiling happily at the reaction of the dumbfounded blondinette. Wow, what a cool look, Naruto! Ryo exclaimed. Thanks, ma'am. I knew it was awesome. What do you think about it, Ino? The Jinchuriki asked, not noticing the malicious grin on the mother's face. Yeah, what do you have to say about it, Ino? The adult asked. It suits you well. The platinum-haired girl muttered. Thanks, you're pretty too. The ponytail is cool, and purple is great on you. He replied with a thumb up. Yeah? Enough praise please, let's go, or else we'll be late, she said, dragging him already to hide the embarrassing blush. Good luck you too, Ryo exclaimed. Konoha's Ninja Academy, 8 a.m. Because of the special event, the school day will last only until the exam is over in the late morning, letting the graduated shinobi celebrate with their families. Many of the applicants were stressed already, mainly civilians wondering if they truly had the skills necessary to be ninjas of Konoha. Most of Naruto's close classmates were as shocked as Ino by his new look and confidence. Not a slight of nervousness on his demeanor, he sat down in his usual spot, waiting for the trials to begin. 30 minutes to wait, plenty of time to talk with his friends. Dude, what happened to you? Kiba asked. Huh? What do you mean? Naruto asked innocently. Your appearance, it's like you picked up a fashion magazine, Shikamaru commented. Don't tell me Ino dragged you on her shopping days, Choji said. Why you're looking good, Hinata commented. I've never seen this kind of mantle anywhere, Shino noted. It's because I've crafted it myself, the Uzumaki shrugged off. You what? Ino exclaimed. Since when are you sewing? I'm the one repairing my torn clothes since I was 5, Ino, he replied. Can't tell them I use 500 shadow clones for the cloak though. You should have told me, I would have asked for your services long ago, the platinum-haired girl sighed. The conversation was interrupted by the sound of the door opening, with Irika and Hiruzen entering the room. Everyone, please greet Lord Hokage, Irika ordered, while the students bowed. We'll start the graduation exam with the optional exercise for the clan's pupils. The teacher drew a list out of his jacket. The candidates are Aburame Shino, Inuzuka Kiba, Uzumaki Naruto, and Yamanaka Ino. Please follow us. The designated person stood up and joined the two adults in another room, but the mention of Uzumaki Naruto made most of the class gasp in disbelief. You're from a clan? Kiba asked, pointing his finger at the blonde. Yeah, but I'm the last of them. Naruto shrugged off. I learned that 3 years ago. So you're an heir too, Shino noted. The Jinchuriki nodded. Technically, yes. In the class, Sasuke was even more interested in the boy who had caught up to most of them in merely 3 years now. Both he and Naruto were the last of their respective clans, maybe he could understand his sorrow and be an acceptable rival. The only reason the Uchiha wasn't applying was because he hadn't awakened his Sharingan yet. What kind of hidden power did the former dead last possess? Sakura was having second thoughts. Naruto's demeanor changed so much in these 3 remaining years, he wasn't bothering her this much and was a well-behaved kid. Surely his learning about his lineage wasn't a coincidence. He was average everywhere, but maybe his friendship with Ino made her rival see something in the blonde worthy of her attention. Hinata rejoiced. She didn't want to be a part of the bonus trial because of her shyness, but now that her crush was confirmed to be a clan's heir, maybe her dad would approve if she decided to make a move on him, so she'll have to become stronger to be recognized as the true Hyuga heiress. Why didn't you participate, by the way? Choji asked to Shikamaru. It's a drag, what about you? The Nara said. My techniques are a little bit too destructive, I think, the Akimichi replied. In the other room, the applicants showed their mastery in a random order while the others waited for their turn in the corridor. Kiba was the first, sparring against Hiruzen with Akamaru to prove his teamwork with his partner. Shino created multiple solid structures with his insects, displaying how coordinated his servants were. Ino used her mind transfer effortlessly on Irika, controlling his body for a whole minute before releasing the technique, proving how deadly she could be. Naruto entered the room, greeting the smiling examiners. Both were eager to see what he had to offer. Irika was informed of the blonde's lineage by Konoha's leader himself when he asked him why the boy registered on the list. So, Naruto, what can you show us? Iruka asked. The adamantine sealing chains, the cloaked boy exclaimed proudly. An old chakra manipulation technique from the Uzumaki clan. They can act as an offensive or defensive tool, and restrict the opponents while suppressing their chakra, or even creating barriers. The teacher's eyes went wide. That's impressive. How can you prove to us that you can use them effectively? Naruto thought for a few seconds. This time, he'll have no help from his mother, a request from himself, not wanting to have an unfair advantage. Gramps, can you attack me from behind where I can't see? Oh, he wants to show them that. Kushina giggled. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. Sure. And furtively created a wooden needle from the ground, launched at the boy's back. A chain appeared from Naruto's back to repel the weapon immediately without him doing anything. Seeing the dumbfounded reaction of the duo, he started to explain. The chains can protect me if they sense danger around me. Then he created one more, coming out of his right hand, making it fly in the room while percuting the walls, now full of slices marks. I didn't put much force into them, but they can pierce rocks already, he said. After that, he quickly wrapped the chain around Iruka's body, who couldn't free himself, and had trouble molding chakra. They're strong enough to restrain someone, and in case the enemy is physically stronger, I can also disrupt their chakra flow so that they won't use any jutsu easily. Naruto continued. Finally, he formed a dome surrounding the three of them and walked to the limit. He touched the air between two chains, now solid. This is the strongest barrier I can do for now, large enough to imprison a group of people, he explained with a grin. Hiruzen was conflicted now. Naruto obviously passed this test with brio, and will absolutely pass the exam without any trouble, but now he had to check the teams he came up with, because this kid was sufficiently diverse with this soul technique to have a spot in any of them. If he didn't want to hinder his growth, the old man had to review the squads to create the perfect one for the Jinchuriki. That was a great display of your proficiency, Naruto, Iruka said with a smile. I'm proud to say that you passed this test at the max score. Thanks, Iruka-sensei, he exclaimed with a huge smile. That was impressive, young boy. You can return to your class now, the third ordered. Naruto came back with a solemn smile on his face and sat near the Ino Shikacho trio. How did it go? Ino asked. Hey. Max score, the proud blonde replied. Good job, Naruto, Choji said. Can't they just give you the headband already? Shikamaru sighed. No way, I still have to do the normal exercises, Naruto commented. I hope you can do clones, I beg you, Ino said. No worries, I work like crazy, the Jinchuriki answered. Iruka returned to the class, ready to start the normal exam. Most of the students were now relaxed, thanks to the moment of respite offered by the bonus trial. As I explained a week ago, you'll have to show me the transformation and the clone jutsus. If you succeed, you'll be an official genin of Konoha. I wish you all good luck, and do your best. Of all the applicants present, the majority of civilians failed, due to their transformation not being perfect. The only one who succeeded was Harino Sakura, proud of her accomplishment, as being a civilian shinobi in a generation full of clan heirs was a feat deserving respect. Even Ino smiled at her success, without showing it to her, for rivalry reasons. All of the clan heirs succeeded: Aburame Shino, Akimichi Choji, Hyuga Hinata, Inuzuka Kiba, Nara Shikamaru, and Yamanaka Ino. These techniques were a breeze to execute for them, nothing hard compared to their training. Upon the announcement of Ino's success, the girl rushed at Naruto, who was already prepared to congratulate her with a fist bump and a hearty smile. I knew it would be easy for you, the Jinchuriki exclaimed. The Yamanaka snorted. Piece of cake, thanks to you. Lord Hokage's proposal to make my dad train you was probably the best thing happening in my life. I'd say meeting you was the best thing that happened in my life. Naruto shrugged off, not hearing the smooth comment of Kushina. The blonde made her blush without trying for the second time now. Get a grip, girl, it's just Naruto, she commanded herself. Why, you're welcome, I didn't do anything special, she replied, turning her head to hide her pink cheeks. Nah, you have no idea how special you are, he cluelessly replied with his innocent grin. Inside the seal, Kushina was cackling maniacally. Her son inherited the oblivious charm of his father. It was only the beginning of a long career. Damn you, smooth bastard, Ino screamed internally. Okay, it's your turn now, don't make Iruka-sensei wait, she said, pushing him towards the desk. What's your problem? An observant Shikamaru asked to the blushing mess that was once Yamanaka Ino. And nothing, she muttered, burying her face in the collar of her shirt. The Nara sighed. Girls. Naruto stood before Irika, ready to show off for all the bullying he had received. He transformed himself into the Hokage Gramps with his hat and robe, not missing a single detail. Good, now show me at least one clone, the teacher ordered. The blonde smirked. Here I go, and formed the hand seal for the shadow clone, creating 5 perfect replicas of himself, grinning at the amazed Irika. Wow, you truly surpassed my expectations, the Chunin teacher noted, picking a headband to give to his favorite pupil. Congratulations, Naruto, from now on, you are an official genin of Konoha. Thank you, Irika-sensei, he exclaimed, giving a handshake to the proud Irika. Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru smiled. All of their worries disappeared instantly for their friend, but a question sprouted in their mind. He'll absolutely have to explain how he did so many clones when he couldn't even produce one last week, Ino said. The 2 boys nodded, also confused by his performance. Naruto returned to his seat, his headband attached to his forehead. Ino was waiting for him, ready to return the favor for the embarrassment he had given her a few seconds ago. Good job, I think you deserve an award from your best friend, she smirked. The confused blonde raised an eyebrow. Come here, she exclaimed, grabbing him for an unexpected hug. You're absolutely celebrating with us tonight, the platinum-haired girl ordered. Naruto didn't know how to react. He was currently embraced by a girl. Not Sakura, but still a girl, his pretty best friend nonetheless. He quickly noticed the softness of her pale skin and the warmth of her body, and now his tanned skin became red. His change of color didn't go unnoticed by the attacker, knowing that her charms worked on someone. Don't pass out, I'm gonna train you hard. If you can't even handle close contact with a kunoichi, you'll lose against any girl right now, Ino exclaimed with a smirk. Naruto was sitting on top of the 4th's rocky head, remembering what he'd been told a few hours ago after passing the graduation exam. He had a few minutes to admire the village before going to Yakinikuku with the Ino Shikacho families to celebrate. I promise I'll make you proud, he exclaimed to the void, smiling at the sculpted visage he was currently on. Flashback, Naruto's inner world 3 hours ago. Naruto, Inoichi, and Hiruzen were once again assembled in the boys' mindscape. It has changed since the last time. The silent sewer was no more. Both adults were greeted by a welcoming house, with Kushina waiting for them sitting at the table in the living room, drinking a cup of tea. Surprising, isn't it? The red-haired woman said. It's hard to believe everything here is fictional. I could almost think I'm alive, waiting for my family to come home. It's the first time I'm visiting such a complex mind. Uzumaki people are a completely different kind, the amazed Yamanaka commented. Indeed, their vitality allows them to produce wonders with their body, Hiruzen noted. But we're not here for that. Kushina nodded. Naruto, sit next to me. The blonde executed and took a seat at the right side of his mother, waiting for the reveal. I'm sure you must have plenty of questions regarding your father, the 3rd said. You bet I'm waiting since I learned about Mom. Why did everyone make such a fuss about it? Naruto questioned. Your dad was a powerful shinobi, Inoichi replied. His skills were such an asset to Konoha that the enemies were given a flee-on-sight order when they had the misfortune to encounter him. Due to his characteristic blonde spiky hair and incredible speed, he was nicknamed the Yellow Flash, Hiruzen explained. You inherited his traits, so I expect a lot of his former opponents to recognize you and maybe target you to take revenge, especially IWA. The genin was listening carefully, finally understanding how awesome his deceased father was. I was supposed to tell you all of this when you would eventually become a Chunin, but Kushina is right, you'll already be traveling around the world as genin, so I can't simply hope for your well-being without expecting any enemies to try something if they spot you and make the connection. The 3rd sighed. Kushina and Inoichi nodded silently. Why are the other ninjas so resentful towards my dad? The blonde asked. Because he was a terrifying foe, he shamed a great number of adversaries during his lifetime. His strength and loyalty were unparalleled even among his peers. That's why I decided to bestow him with the position of the next Hokage after me, the old man explained. Naruto's eyes went wide, realizing the implication behind the 3rd Hokage's words. Why, you mean? Your father was Namikaze Minato, the 4th Hokage, Kushina replied with a smile. You must be wondering why he sealed the 9-tailed fox inside his own son. Believe me, I scolded him when he told me about it, you know. But he had faith in you, faith in the village, too much maybe, she said, frowning. The blonde looked astonished. His hero, the one who defeated the so-called demonic fox who terrorized his hometown 12 years ago, the coolest Hokage, was his dad. Both his parents were extremely cool shinobis who met an unjust fate, and while he was rejoiced by the revelation, a part of him wanted desperately to hate the man. The newly graduated genin endured 9 years of abuse because of his father's absurd decision. Hey mom, why did you accept his plan to seal Kurama inside of me? You knew already how the Jinchurikis were treated, right? The son asked sadly. Kushina lowered her eyebrows, understanding her boy's pain. It's my job as a mother to trust my child. While I wasn't totally convinced by Minato, I secretly hoped you wouldn't suffer from the usual mistreatment due to your lineage. But I was instantly proven wrong. During my 9 years of powerlessness, I watched as you were hated by every adult, and I feared for the worst. She explained. But you proved your father right, because even when I wasn't there to help you, you never gave up. Sure, you had your moments of understandable sadness, yet you never truly faltered. If Minato were in my place, he would certainly regret his actions, but would be as proud as I am of you right now, the mother said, smiling at the perplexed blonde. I failed you too, Naruto. I thought my actions were protecting you, when in fact they were deeply harming you, Hiruzen said. It's not my right to apologize, but I want you to know that while Minato's choice was questionable for many of us, he wasn't the kind of man to make irrational decisions. He sealed the fox inside you with complete trust in his son. That's right, it was the first time ever I lost an argument against him that day. Kushina smiled. I'll understand if you have mixed feelings regarding your dad, don't worry, it's also the job of parents to handle these things. The red-haired mother chuckled. Naruto smiled. He feared the reaction of Kushina, who spoke so highly of his dad whenever she mentioned him as her husband, and now he felt stupid. Don't worry, it's not like I dislike him, even if I tried I couldn't. He was the first Hokage I admired, after all. Knowing that he's my dad makes me like him even more, I just wanted to be sure he wasn't using me. Inoichi snorted. Believe me, Naruto. There was no other man on this planet who could be as excited to become a dad as he was. If he were Lord Hokage's place right now, no one would dare to approach you with a trace of animosity unless they wanted to die. He might have beaten me in the doting father category. The genin chuckled. I see, then I'd better prove him right by becoming an even more awesome shinobi as he was. The three adults smiled. Now that you know everything, I put the information about your secret in your hands, Naruto, Hiruzen said. I'll have to explain to the Jonins about Kushina for clarity reasons, but you're free to tell any of your comrades about the whole thing now. Okay, Gramps. That will be hard to explain, but I'll find a way, Naruto replied. Flashback end. Yakiniku Q 8 p.m. The three families and Naruto were gathered around the table to celebrate. Thanks to his relation with the famous trio, no one bothered to threaten the blonde, and even if they tried, the backlash from his guardians would be enough to end any career. Naruto discovered the wonders of grilled meat, to the pleasure of Choji, now having a good rival to challenge for the quantity of food they could eat. The blonde was no Akimichi, yet his metabolism was on par with the heir, capable of devouring just as much as him. His stomach was bottomless. Ino wondered where her yellow-haired fellow could put all of that without becoming fatter. A question he answered with the absurd physical effort he was putting into his workouts. Even the Jonins were impressed by the description, while the mothers wondered what kind of musculature he would possess in his teen years. A certain jade beast would gladly take him under its wings. Still, the quartet of Genins was showing signs of anticipation for tomorrow, the day when they'll officially become squads of 3. Of course, no one wanted to be separated from the others, and Naruto was concerned about his own team, knowing that the Ino Shikacho heirs would probably be together for obvious reasons. However, a statement from Shikaku, the Jonin leader, made all of them confused. That would have been the case previously, but now I'm not so sure, the older Nara said. What do you mean, Dad? They can't change that, it's been decades ever since our combination exists. Shikamaru noted. He didn't want to put too much effort at learning how to strategize with unexpected teammates when two convenient ones were served on a silver platter. Well, I don't know what happened during your exams, but the Hokage has been reviewing the teams ever since it was over. Troublesome for me too, if there's a change, I'll have to tell the designated Jonin's teachers. Shikaku explained. We're up for a surprise this year, Choza commented. Well, they can't make too much changes, right? If I remember what my dad explained, there must be a balance among the Genins, or a certain expertise for the teams, Ino said. That's right. Inoichi followed. So whatever happens, you won't be grouped with comrades you can't work with. Maybe I'll be in Sasuke's team. The platinum-haired girl smirked. What a nightmare. Naruto and Shikamaru replied in sync. You've got a problem with him, you too? The Yamanaka heiress frowned. He's boring. Can't even joke or maintain a conversation, the Uzumaki replied. He got too much energy for me. I'll be forced to train like crazy. The Nara sighed. Ino snorted. At least he's cool and talented. Yeah, we know. Shikamura sighed again. All girls are attracted to him like a magnet. Honestly, I'm sad for him, having to deal with so many troublesome people. You don't know if he's thinking like that. The heiress frowned. Judging by his bothered face every time a girl approached him, I'm pretty sure I'm right. The Nara genin replied. He's got a point, Choji commented. Naruto snorted. Well, who knows? If Ino is paired up with him, maybe she can attract his attention? Sasuke likes hard workers, and from all the girls who graduated, she's the only one who trains seriously. He shrugged off. Ino blushed dumbfoundedly at the explanation. Why, you mean it? What about Sakura, or even Hinata? Come on, I spent 3 years working my ass off with you. If Sasuke doesn't notice how awesome you are, then he's dumber than me. The blonde commented, while his friends nodded and the adults grinned. Hinata is too shy. For some reason she always faints when I'm close to her, and Sakura is pretty, but she's not what Sasuke wants, she's a total book smart. Hinata faints because she likes you, moron. The Ino Shikacho trio replied internally. I see, Ino muttered, hiding her pink cheeks. Thanks for the encouragement. No problem. Naruto shrugged off. Yamanaka Ryo glanced at the adults. They were all trying to contain a laugh. I wonder how he is doing it so cluelessly? She whispered to them. Wanna bet how many fangirls he'll have post-puberty? Akimichi Chomi asked. Probably a dozen. Nara Yoshino giggled. I'm surprised you didn't interrupt anything, Inoichi. Shikaka noted. Sometimes a man just needs to observe silently. Inoichi sighed. The kid is dangerous. Choza chuckled. The embarrassed platinum-haired girl noticed the cackling older people whispering at each other. Hey, what's with the whispers? Nothing, my girl. Ryo grinned. Just wondering what your chances are with this Uchiha. That's none of your concern. Ino pouted, crossing her arms. The younger boys looked at each other, sighing. Their bossy unofficial sister was dabbling between seriousness and clumsiness in no time, just because of a crush. Naruto's Mindscape, 10 p.m. In his sleep, Naruto could still train a bit, thanks to his peculiar situation. Nothing physical, only mental reinforcement here, and theorizing a lot of stuff with his mom and the tenant. Thinking of it, he never tried something with Kurama's chakra, and he never asked him to do so. Was there a reason? Hey Kurama, you said you would teach me how to use your power, right? The confused blonde exclaimed. Indeed. Kurama said. Then how come we never practiced anything yet? He asked. Sorry to disappoint you, kid, but your body is still too frail to attempt anything. Besides, how would you even try something when you were stuck with that girl and all your trainings? The fox replied. Oh, right. Didn't think about that. Naruto noted. So when will I be ready according to you? It's hard to tell. If I were my old self, my chakra would force its way through the seal to weaken it, making you passively attuned to it. The tailed beast explained. But right now, you only have glimpses of it in your own flow, so if you used my power like Kushina did, I don't know how severe the side effects would be. The Jinchuriki nodded in comprehension. It's a no-no for now, right? Yes, we can't take the risk of your body reacting badly. Okay then, it sucks, but I've got no choice. He shrugged off. Anyway, I'm leaving. Good night, Mom, furball. Kushina snorted loudly, while the fox sighed. You bred a brat even more hot-headed than you. Were you expecting something else? The red-haired woman smirked. Kurama smirked. No. Next day, Ninja's Academy, 8 a.m. The graduates were waiting for Yumino Irika to reveal their assignments. The teacher observed joyfully the tense looks on every student's face. It was his guilty pleasure. Most of the teams were already announced. As usual, there was a mix of discontent and happiness from the classmates. But they couldn't discuss the choices, unless something really bad happened to the squad due to the strained relationships between the members. The quartet waited their turn with excitement, except the lazy Nara. Naruto wasn't showing it, but he was eager to know who would be his trusty teammates. The only one he wished not to be paired with was Uchiha Sasuke, because the guy would be a pain to deal with if he remained the same gloomy guy. The next group was going to be announced. Team 7, Akimichi Choji, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. The pink-haired kunoichi jumped out of her seat. Wonderful! Take that, Ino pig! The Yamanaka heiress frowned. Shit. Choji, don't let her bully you. Well, I hope for us to stay together, but it can't be so bad. They're not bad people. Choji shrugged off. You're taking better than I expected, Naruto commented. Choji is a good guy, he can be friend with anyone, Shikamaru noted. The blonde Jinchuriki smiled. You're right. Irika listed another group. Team 8, Aburaim Shino, Hyuga Hinata, and Inuzuka Kiba. Shino nodded, pleased with his comrades, while Kiba exclaimed in excitement with a barking Akamaru, and Hinata remained silent, even though Ino noticed a disappointed expression in her eyes, probably because she wasn't in Naruto's squad. And with the number of remaining genins still without a team, there was a huge possibility that. Please don't tell me I'm that unlucky. Shikamaru began to sweat. Team 10, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, and Uzumaki Naruto, Irika announced. Well, damn, the Nara sighed, picturing his complicated future with the two loudmouths. And proving his point, Ino and Naruto loudly exclaimed their joy. The best team ever! The blonde Uzumaki exclaimed. You bet! We'll be unstoppable! The platinum-haired Yamanaka followed, fist-bumping her best friend while grinning. Now, all they had to do was to wait for their designated Jonin teacher. Surely he would be the coolest of them with such a good trio, right? Most of the newly founded teams left with their leader. For some reason, Team 7's teacher wasn't here despite the group being formed before Team 8 and Team 10. The beautiful dark-haired kunoichi covered in white and black bandages introduced herself as Yuhi Kurinai. I am the designated Jonin for Team 8, please follow me, she ordered gently. Several minutes later, a dark-haired bearded man entered the room, with a cigarette in his mouth. I'm Sarutobi Asuma, and I'm taking Team 10 with me, he exclaimed with a grin. The trio complied and exited the room, leaving only the confused Team 7 waiting in the class. They gave a thumbs up of good luck to Choji, who simply shrugged off. More time waiting meant more time to eat his chips. All of them were assembled at the academy's training grounds out of sight. Okay kids, we'll start with the introductions first, Asuma said. I want to know your name, what you like or dislike, and your aspirations. I'll start to give you an example. I am Sarutobi Asuma, I like smoking and women, I dislike bounty hunters, and my dream is to have children later, the Jonin proclaimed. Sarutobi, like the Hokage Gramps? You look a lot like him, Naruto noted. Yeah, the old man is my dad, Asuma replied. Would you like to introduce yourself, blonde guy? Of course. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, I like pranks, ramen, and plants, I don't like cool gloomy guys, and I want to become the Hokage, the blonde exclaimed. That's a nice dream you have there, kid, the smoking adult said. Next, the other guy who's almost sleeping. The Nara heir was pushed to sit instead of staying down on the ground by Ino. What a drag. Shikamaru sighed. I'm Nara Shikamaru, I like doing nothing or playing shogi, I don't like being forced to do something, and I just want a peaceful life. Yeah, definitely a Nara brat, Asuma sighed. Your turn, young girl. I'm Yamanaka Ino, I like flowers and my family in general. I hate lazy bums, and I want to become a strong kunoichi to make my parents proud, she exclaimed. Nice reply, at least I know you'll be there to motivate the pineapple head if you pass the test, Asuma smiled. The trio glanced at him, frowning. A test? Aren't we done with that? Naruto asked. The Sarutobi Jonin snorted. Do you believe a little bit of theory would prove that you're good enough to be proper ninjas? He rhetorically questioned. You are genins in name only for now. You'll take your final test tomorrow, purely practical, so you better prepare yourself. Troublesome, Shikamaru commented. What are we supposed to do? Ino asked, arms crossed. You'll know tomorrow. Come to the training ground 7 for 10 a.m., no delays allowed, Asuma said. You got any more questions? The squad shook their heads. Then you're free to do whatever you want for now, later, kids, the man exclaimed, leaving the place immediately. The three friends looked at each other. So, should we do now? Ino asked. If it's a practical test, then we'll probably be fighting? Naruto wondered. Guess I'm gonna train a little bit in my usual spot. It's going to be a pain, but I'll try to come up with a plan just in case. Shikamaru sighed. My mom will kill me if I fail. Give me a summary of what you can do, you two. Naruto's technique is pretty similar to yours, he can restrain people with his chains, Ino said. The Jinchuriki nodded. Also, I can create a barrier to shield us or catch someone. Damn, pretty useful stuff, Shikamaru noted. I can see why they put us together now. Both blondes twitched. What do you mean? Naruto asked. You and I are both immobilizers, except that you're bulkier than I, and probably as good as Choji, with more versatility. A bliss for Yamanaka. The Nara explained. Oh yeah? I'll have no trouble with you too, Ino realized. Guess they switched Choji because he's kind enough to handle both Sasuke and Sakura, whereas you would have argued with Sasuke constantly, Naruto. The girl smirked. As much as I hate to admit it, you're probably right. Naruto pouted. Well then, I'll ask my dad if he has some intel for the test, and tell you tomorrow. We should come early, the Yamanaka ordered. Naruto and Shikamaru nodded. I suggest 9 a.m., the blonde said. Both friends accepted, and the trio disbanded to do their respective tasks. Yamanaka Flower Shop, noon. The girl came home with her idea in mind. Her dad was working, so she had to wait until the end of the day, so she had to pass the time by helping her mother in the afternoon. So, were you lucky? Ryo asked. The daughter hummed for a few seconds, looking at the ceiling. I think I'm one of the luckiest, yes, she replied. I'm with Naruto and Shikamaru, two friends with great techniques for my own. Plus, Naruto and I can work together to remove the laziness in the slacker. Ino chuckled. Wow, that's a surprise, the older Yamanaka noted. I never expected Lord Hokage to break the combination, but I can see why he included Naruto. He's a reliable shinobi. The heiress nodded in agreement. The first time I saw his ability, I wished he would be with me. I never expected my dream to come true. She smirked. Yeah, you're fated with him, her mother commented with a devilish grin. Ino stared at her genitor, annoyed. Stop it already, Mom. You can't blame me. Ryo shrugged off. At least I know him, contrary to Sasuke, who I've never seen once. You'll meet him soon enough once I'll get him, the genin replied. The teasing continued until Inoichi finally arrived, witnessing the most bizarre scene he'd ever seen between his two precious girls. For the last time, Mom, I only blush because he's making stupid compliments without knowing it himself, the distraught heiress exclaimed. Ryo sighed and shook her head, smiling. It begins there, and we all know where it ends. Annoyed by her mother and hearing her father entering the room, Ino took the opportunity to switch the subject. Welcome back, Dad. Tell me, did you have to pass another test with your team when you graduated? Oh, that? Inoichi smiled. Yes, it's a mandatory trial, but I can't say anything about it. It defeats its purpose if I give you advice. The clan heads sat on the sofa. Who are on your team, by the way? Naruto and Shikamaru, Ino replied. You're too lucky for your own good, Inoichi snorted. I would have killed to have teammates with so much restraining power. Nara's household, late in the afternoon. The lazy heir thought of a strategy for the whole afternoon, an unusual behavior that didn't go unnoticed by his parents. Their child was putting effort into something else than shogi for once. Furthermore, something was starting to bother him the more he was thinking about it. Some questions needed to be answered by his father. Something strange about Naruto, the young Nara noted. Shikaku frowned, knowing how clever his son could be. How so? How every villager looks at him. His relation with the third Hokage and Ino's dad, his unending stamina, how much he progressed in no time. Everything is fishy, Shikamaru listed. Have you ever asked him about it? The Jonin leader questioned. Not yet. I noticed how weird he acts every time I mention the topic, so I don't push him, the heir replied. Troublesome brat. Shikaku thought about his son. Now that they were on the same team, he'll probably have no problem deducing the nature of his teammate if he didn't reveal anything before. Well, as the last Uzumaki, his physical condition is above anyone in your generation. I don't know much about his bond with Lord Hokage, but I can tell you that the speed of his progress isn't alarming. He must have trained like no one else thanks to his stamina. The genin wasn't truly convinced by the explanation, but it would be a drag to ask for more. He had a plan to prepare for now. Naruto's apartment, 7 p.m. Just like he told his friends, the Jinchuriki trained during the entirety of the afternoon, thinking about how he could use his arsenal in a real battle tactically. With his composition, he would be the main brawler, with Ino and Shikamaru as supports, so he better had to excel in firepower to compensate for his teammates' weaknesses. One idea in particular came to mind: he simply had to prepare some tags and test them. His practice worked, he was confident about his way of fighting. Now, time to eat and rest for tomorrow. Hey Mom, I assume you can't tell me anything about the test, right? He asked. You're right, sorry, but you'll be on your own, Kushina replied. Not a problem, my team is awesome. The blonde smirked. Indeed, they both seem very reliable, even the lazy one. His mother chuckled. He's just a slacker, but I know he can be super smart when he actually try. Naruto grinned. I can't wait to see you three in action. Kushina smiled. Asuma-sensei better not underestimate us or else we'll kick his ass in no time, you know, he exclaimed. Damn right. Well said, you know, the hot-headed woman commented energetically. Training Ground 7, 9 a.m. They weren't the only ones gathered here, both groups were dumbfounded to cross paths. What are you doing here? Sakura asked, not hiding her discontent, especially towards the two blondes. Our sensei asked us to come here, and we arrived early, Ino replied, frowning. You've got a test, you too? Choji questioned. Yeah, I guess we're doing ours at the same time as yours, Shikamaru commented. Well, good luck, you three, Naruto exclaimed. The Akimichi nodded, while Sasuke and Sakura ignored him. From Team 10's point of view, the Uchiha was extremely distant from his comrades. Choji of all people had trouble approaching him, especially with the clingy girl constantly around the dark-haired genin. That sucks, Naruto commented, and for once, Ino agreed. She may be in love with the Rookie of the Year, but it didn't mean she could tolerate all of his actions, contrary to her pink-haired rival. The two squads slowly separated from each other. Team 10 focused on their teamwork while Team 7 waited for their sensei to come. At 10 a.m., Asuma showed up, greeted by his students. Hey there, Asuma-sensei, Naruto exclaimed, waving his hand. Good morning, Asuma-sensei, Ino said. Yo, Asuma-sensei. Shikamaru lazily followed. The Jonin smiled. You came early? Already a good point. We've got several plans against you. Naruto grinned. That's nice, Asuma noted. But unfortunately, we'll have to wait a bit, my comrade isn't here yet. The trio twitched. Huh? You need a partner against us? The blonde Jinchuriki scratched his head. The Sarutobi snorted. No, we're doing a combined test with Team 7, he explained, asking the other squad to approach. So that's why you're here, Sasuke said. Yes. I just hope Kakashi won't be as late as he always is, Asuma sighed. Wait, so it's a habit? He made us wait 1 hour yesterday, Sakura exclaimed. Knowing him, he'll come with another bullshit excuse, the bearded man commented, drawing a cigarette out of his pocket. Of all people I had to team up with, the old man picked the worst. He chuckled. Why are we doing our tests in tandem? Ino asked. Apparently, that's because the other blonde here makes your combination far too strong for a single person, Asuma explained, pointing at an oblivious Naruto. He didn't explain to me why, though. Flashback: Hokage's office, 1 hour before the assignments. Asuma and Kakashi were gathered by the third Hokage to discuss the changes to their teams. And here I thought I'd have the good old Ino Shikicho, would have been a piece of cake, Asuma said. I must say I'm surprised I won't have Minato-sensei's son with me, there's probably an explanation, Kakashi noted. Hiruzen nodded. Naruto became a special case, he showed me his proficiency with his bloodline limit during the graduation exam, and I can promise you he'll be as competent as an Akimichi with the young Shikamaru and Ino, Asuma, he explained. At first, I would have put him in Sasuke's team, due to your relation with Minato, but unfortunately, I fear that his teamwork with the last Uchiha and Sakura won't function, he's too hot-headed for them, whereas I heard from Inoichi that his daughter can monitor him. The young Choji will have no problem to accommodate to your students' behaviors. I understand your judgment, Lord Hokage. But what is this bloodline limit of Naruto? You've never talked about it before, Kakashi asked. Just like his status as a Jinchuriki, it was kept from most people, because I feared for the council's reaction. The third sighed. He's got the same chakra chains as his mother, Hiruzen said. That's interesting, Minato-sensei never told me the details about it, only that it was a fearsome technique, the gray-haired Jonin commented. Indeed, I was pleasantly surprised by his display. The leader smiled. Can't you tell me what I can expect? Asuma asked. I can't spoil the fun. Hiruzen chuckled. I summoned both of you to ask you to do the last test in duo, because I think most of our jonins would have trouble dealing with the new Team 10 if they practiced their teamwork. Kakashi and Asuma frowned. It's that strong, huh? The bearded man said. Yes, and I believe Team 10's cooperation can serve as an example for Team 7. I know that Uchiha Sasuke don't trust anyone, and Hiruno Sakura probably doesn't realize the reality of the work as a shinobi, due to her civilian lineage. I want them to understand a lesson. The third Hokage explained. Well then, I guess we'll show off a little, right, Kakashi? Asuma grinned. Indeed, I'm eager to see what the famous Rookie of the Year can do. Kakashi I smiled. Flashback end. Sasuke and Sakura frowned at Asuma's statement. Was the former dead last that strong? They never noticed a great surge in power, he simply caught up to his peers, and while it was worthy of respect, he was still viewed as an average shinobi due to his performance. Is it related to your clan? Sasuke asked, showing interest for once. Yeah, I'll show you. Naruto replied. Don't disappoint me. The Uchiha smirked. I never disappoint, dude. The Uzumaki smirked back. Finally, Kakashi arrived, at 10:30 a.m. Still late, but earlier than normally expected. You're late! Naruto, Ino and Sakura exclaimed, pointing at the smiling masked jonin. The man raised his hands apologetically. Sorry, everyone. You see, I stumbled upon this kitten and… We don't have the time, Kakashi. We made them wait long enough already. Asuma sighed. I guess you're right. The gray-haired man replied, drawing 4 bells out of his vest. Your test is simple. Anyone who catches one of these bells passes. You have until noon. He explained. Ino immediately noticed the trick. Hey, we're 6, and there is only 4 bells. 2 of us are basically forced to fail, she said, frowning. So? You shouldn't be concerned about people who can't keep up with you, they'll only hinder you. Kakashi taunted. Sorry, but I'm not a piece of shit. The Yamanaka heiress replied angrily. I'll make my whole team pass, whether you like it or not. Naruto and Shikamaru smiled. No one would be stupid enough to contradict a fired-up Ino, and it seemed her proclamation also motivated Team 7. Sasuke smiled faintly, while Choji grinned and Sakura observed her rival, mouth agape. Well, let's see what you got, kids! Asuma exclaimed. I'm pretty sure this girl made her whole squad pass already, Kakashi thought. Here we go! Naruto exclaimed, creating a dozen of shadow clones. Ino blended in the mass while some of them were gathered around Shikamaru to guard him. 5 doppelgangers rushed at Asuma, who analyzed the close-quarters performance of his blonde opponent. He punches hard but lacks speed. He's trying to compensate with numbers, the jonin remarked. Dealing with them wasn't a problem. Most of the jabs were avoided without effort, despite the original trying his best to spar with the man, to no avail. Kakashi was dealing with his own students, Sasuke and Choji on the front lines and Sakura acting as a support. To his surprise, the 2 boys were more coordinated than expected. The Uchiha could accommodate to any partner, and the Akimichi was the bulkiest of his squad. He could easily do real damage with his expanded punches. They're pressuring me good enough to not let me rest, and Sakura is seemingly waiting to throw a kunai at the best angle to cut the strings from the bells. A valid plan. Let's see how she handles a genjutsu. The gray-haired jonin commented, forming a hand seal directed at the overly focused pink-haired girl. Sakura was watching from afar, hidden on a nearby branch. From her analysis, she deduced that her teacher noticed her, and it played in her favor. He had to make a choice, either focus on her threat and risk taking hits from Choji and Sasuke, or forget about her and risk being stabbed by a well-placed kunai. After several minutes of fighting, the kunoichi noticed a slip in his movements. At this angle, she could graze Kakashi's waist and cut the string from the bells at the same time. Got you! She exclaimed, throwing her weapon. The Jinchuriki created more clones for the distraction, while Ino attacked Asuma relentlessly with projectiles. A coordinated attack, not bad, but I can avoid it easily. The Sarutobi commented internally. He jumped in the air, dodging the Yamanaka's shurikens. Now, Naruto! Shikamaru screamed. On it! He replied, opening his palm. Team 7 watched dumbfoundedly as a large spiky chain came out of Naruto's hand, launched to the airborne Asuma. What the hell is that? Sasuke asked. The singular chakra weapon was close to grabbing the trapped man, however the chain was sliced by a strange blade, covered in chakra. The jonin landed a few meters before the 2 trios. So that's your famous chains, huh? Asuma commented. Quite the weapon, but I'm afraid to tell you that I can cut them easily. I expected no less from a jonin. The blonde smirked. What about that? He said, doing a hand seal. A myriad of chains sprouted out of the ground, encircling the man, all of them converging in a singular spot in the air to form a dome. But Asuma quickly stepped back, escaping the barrier while it was forming. All of them disappeared, and the clones started to chase the bearded jonin. Ino launched more and more of her projectiles, baiting the man near the forest. The doppelgangers formed a line behind Asuma, who noticed what his pupils were trying to do. Their shadow was darker than normal. He's increasing Shikamaru's coverage with the shadow of his clones, not bad. The trio grinned, the clueless jonin was close enough. Release! Naruto exclaimed. Asuma's eyes went wide, noticing all the tags stuck on the wooden trunks, revealing multiple chains launched at him while the clones were closing the distance along with the shadow possession. Well, shit. The Sarutobi was effectively grabbed, both by the chains and the shadow. Shadow possession complete, Shikamaru said. You can dispel your technique, Naruto. My turn now, mind transfer, Ino exclaimed, her conscience taking control of her teacher's body. The possessed Asuma walked towards the group and gave his 2 bells. For security measures, Naruto created a barrier of chains, while Ino released her technique. The jonin was trapped in a confined area. Now make all of us pass or else I'm slapping you in the balls with the chain, Naruto threatened. The trapped jonin laughed. That was good, but you forgot something, kids. The squad frowned until they heard a feminine voice. Naruto, dodge! Sakura screamed. The girl threw a kunai at the blonde, too fast to be avoided, and the Jinchuriki was too focused, maintaining his prison. Another chain came out of his body, pushing the weapon back to avoid a wounding blow on his waist. As soon as the defensive tool appeared, the barrier of chains disappeared. Asuma took advantage of the confusion to retrieve the bells and stepped away to join his partner. Huh, Sakura, why did you attack me? Naruto asked, eyes widened. I didn't, I threw my weapon thinking it was Kakashi-sensei, but I realized too late that I was under a genjutsu, sorry. The kunoichi replied apologetically. They were interrupted by an out-of-breath Sasuke and Choji stepping back to the group of 6. Damn, nothing works against him. The Uchiha noted angrily. You're alright, Choji? I can take the lead if you want. The Akimichi shook his head. It should be okay, we can do it, just need another try, Sakura won't be caught by a genjutsu again. My bad, guys, the pink-haired kunoichi sighed. No worry, you're a good distraction, the dark-haired genin commented. Both jonins approached the 2 teams, happy about what they've seen from their debuting genins. Their work was sloppy, that was expected from beginners, and yet, one of the team managed to retrieve 2 bells with a clever plan, while the others gave Kakashi a run for his money, constantly on the edge. It seems you can only do one thing at once with your chains, Naruto, Asuma said. That was a good strategy, you 3, but you shouldn't let him be the sole attacker, even with his clones. I know Shikamaru isn't a fighter, but you could have helped more than just using projectiles to bait me, Ino, he explained. To be fair, you're scary in close quarters, Asuma-sensei, Naruto noted. My chains are as hard as steel, and you cut through them as if they were made of butter. I don't want to risk the lives of my friends just for a distraction when we already had a plan that worked. You're right, I'm just pointing out what you could improve, the jonin replied. That was a good fight, you 2. Kakashi smiled at his male students. You're the first ones to hold your ground for 5 minutes straight without flinching. Both of you teamed up in no time. Obviously, there is still some work to do, but you should be fine, especially with Sakura to support you. The masked jonin glanced at Sakura. You surprised me, dispelling this genjutsu that fast. 2 seconds too late, and Naruto would have been wounded, thinking you attacked him, and it would have blown up your trust. That was still close, I feel like I was useless. Sakura frowned. Believe me, you weren't. I had to focus on you several times when you waited for your chance with your kunai. Sometimes mind games are the best distraction possible. If it wasn't for you, I would have dealt with your teammates much faster, Kakashi explained. Not to mention, your throw was extremely accurate, despite the distance between you and your target. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei, the kunoichi replied. So, we're resuming the trial? Sasuke asked. We still have an hour. No, you all pass, Kakashi replied. The genins frowned, taking a few seconds to process what the gray-haired jonin said. What? They all asked in sync. The 6 of you showed good teamwork and adaptability against your opponents. That's what we wanted to judge, Asuma explained. Ino's excitement played in your favor. Good job, girl, you motivated the troops. What I said about my entire team passing the test? Come on, anyone would do that. Who would be so scummy to the point of abandoning their teammates? The platinum-haired girl asked rhetorically. Yeah, there's no way I was going to pass by myself, and my comrades are worth more than a stupid bell. Sakura noted. Don't worry, if we had managed to catch one, I would have threatened to blow Kakashi-sensei up with a fire-style jutsu to make the three of us pass. Sasuke noted. So cool. Both girls commented. My threat to slap your balls was very real, Asuma-sensei, Naruto said, while Shikamaru and Ino snorted at the absurdity of the action. Well, I'm glad you didn't do it for real. The bearded jonin shivered. Anyway, your answers prove that you're worthy of being genins, since none of you would have given up on your comrades. Kakashi smiled. Believe me, not many people would have done the same as you. That's how dark our world truly is. Congratulations, you're both officially Team 7 and Team 10. Asuma grinned. To celebrate, I'm taking all of you to Yakinikakyu, and I'm not taking no for an answer. Shikamaru, Ino, and Naruto snorted. This man was making a great mistake, paying for Choji. Not that he needed to know, his reaction would be worth it. That's fine by me. Kakashi noted. You won't refuse a good meal, right? He asked his students, who shook their heads furiously. Sasuke accepted the offer because he really needed answers about Naruto. What were these strange chains? It was the first time he ever saw something like this, but the Nara and the Yamanaka didn't seem bothered by it, and their Jonin was visibly trying to judge their strength, without a trace of shock. Sakura thought the same, with a supplementary goal in mind. The reason why they all passed was primarily because of her rival, who had changed a lot in 3 years, just like the other blonde. Maybe they could rekindle their friendship, and she could finally apologize for all the things she did to the misjudged Uzumaki. Yakinikakyu noon. The squads gathered around the largest table, Naruto, Shikamaru, and Choji on one side, while the two girls were on each side of the poor Sasuke, ready to flee. Both teachers sympathized with him. It was hard to deal with immature fangirls, especially young kunoichis who weren't aware of the world yet. The boys' trio before the dark-haired genin were smiling at him, taunting the Uchiha silently. Obviously, he wasn't pleased by his situation in the slightest, but he agreed to come anyway, wanting answers. So, what were these things you used in the test? You could have shown it in the academy. Sasuke noted. As I told you in the exams, it's Uzumaki-specific stuff. Naruto said. It's called the adamantine sealing chains. It can be used to attack, defend, create barriers, or restrain an opponent. I was the first one to know about it. It's so cool when he used them when we trained. Ino exclaimed proudly. You're really from a clan then? Sakura said, eyes widened. How come we never learned about yours? The majority of the Uzumaki clan's knowledge disappeared along with them. It's a miracle that Naruto even knows about his bloodline limit. It must be something extremely rare, just like the Sharingan, which is not awakened by every Uchiha. Kakashi explained. The blonde nodded. It was purely accidental, and I'm not that good with it yet. Like Asuma-sensei said, I can only do one thing at once. The chains are super hard to manipulate. It combines advanced chakra manipulation with outer chakra formation, from what I can see. Asuma commented. No wonder it's hard to master. You have a technique requiring Jonin skills already. You can say I had a good teacher. The Jinchuriki shrugged off. And a good sparring partner. Ino followed, smiling. Naruto snorted. And it's far from over. Now we'll fight every day. He grinned. I accept the challenge. I can deal with your energy now. The platinum-haired heiress winked. You're serious? As far as I can remember, no one could last more than 10 minutes against him. Sakura exclaimed. Well, 3 years of constant practice with the goofball helps. Ino shrugged off. I'm not as good as him yet, but his workout is more effective than any diet I could take. Thanks for telling us. Ain't no way I'm training with you too. Shikamaru sighed. You will. Asuma smirked. Maybe you'll be the first ever motivated Nara man. No chance, Asuma-sensei. Their laziness is genetic. Choji commented. The rest of the group snorted. Then we'll extract it forcefully. The Yamanaka said. Anyway, now you're all genins, meaning that you'll go on missions soon. Kakashi explained. The Jinchuriki grinned. I can't wait. I'm gonna save a lot of people just like a hero. He exclaimed, while a faint giggle was heard in his mind. If only you knew, my boy. I like your enthusiasm, kid. Asuma smiled. You'll start with D-rank ones, until you can partake in C-rank missions. How do you judge that? Sasuke asked. With your ability to cooperate together, the masked Jonin noted. D-rank missions are for reinforcing your bonds and teamwork. No problem, we're already all good. These missions will be done in no time, the blonde boy exclaimed joyfully. Both teachers smiled, knowing full well what was coming for their students. The D-rank missions are more chores than real duties. Some of them will be greatly disappointed, and the whole thing would last a month at least before they could try a C-rank one. The time came for everyone to finally go home. Sasuke left first, with Shikamaru and Choji following his example a few minutes later. Ino decided to return to the flower shop to help her mother, while Asuma and Kakashi went to the Hokage Tower to give their report about the test, leaving only Naruto and Sakura alone. Well, see you next time, Sakura, the blonde said. Naruto, wait. Could we speak for a moment? The kunoichi asked. He raised an eyebrow. Sure. If it's about Sasuke, I don't know what he likes. The girl sighed. No, idiot. I want to talk to you. Naruto blushed, baffled by his crush's statement. What is it? It's surely not a confession, right? He muttered, scratching the back of his head. Sakura snorted. Sorry, but no. I want to apologize to you. The genin was even more confused now. For what? The pink-haired kunoichi avoided his oblivious glare, turning her head. For all the shit I did to you. Looking back on it, I'm ashamed of my behavior. You didn't deserve any of the punches I gave you, she replied apologetically. His eyes twitched, and he smiled. Oh, that? Don't worry about it. Ino explained to me how obnoxious I was back then. Naruto explained. I was pretty embarrassed when she listed every stupid thing I did to get your attention. Ino, Sakura smiled faintly. You sure hold her in high regard. Yeah, she's my first friend and never talked bad about me. She's the reason why I have Shikamaru and Choji too, the blonde replied, grinning. Once you get past her bossy side, she's a really great girl, super nice and all. The pink-haired genin looked at the ground defeatedly. You're right. The Jinchuriki noticed her change in demeanor. You know, Ino explained to me what happened between you two. I may not have the right to say that, but she truly misses your friendship. Naruto looked at her seriously. So I'll tell you the same thing I told her. I think a crush isn't worth breaking your relationship. Sakura glanced at the clueless blonde in a new light. He changed a lot in 3 years, but even she wasn't expecting such wisdom coming out of his mouth. It was hard to believe she just received a lesson from the former socially inept guy in her class. You can say smart things when you want. She chuckled. Thanks, Naruto. I'll try to mend things with her, and if you don't mind it, I'd like to become your friend too. She smiled, offering a handshake. Really? Of course I accept, he exclaimed, grabbing her hand with a good grasp. The female genin snorted. I'm starting to see why Shikamaru thinks he's in a nightmare. Teamed up with 2 hot-headed blondes. Next month, Hokage's office, 10 a.m. As expected, Asuma had a great time watching the annoyed reactions of his pupils regarding the D-rank missions. Repainting walls, catching the same cat over and over, doing some errands for the elderly people, or taking care of the Inuzuka puppies. Nothing more than boring chores, not really jobs to strengthen their teamwork, which was already fine, due to their friendship. The sole pro of completing these daily quests every single day for the whole month was the paycheck. Naruto could spend as much money as he wanted on ramen or plants, while Ino was buying new clothes every week for her and the blonde boy. Once again, they were going to partake in another mission. What would it be this time? The Jinchuriki had enough. That wasn't what he signed for. Come on, Gramps. We did every drudgery possible in the village for a month, he exclaimed in annoyance. Shikamaru and Ino nodded. It's becoming such a drag. What's the point of training if all we do is basically citizen tasks? The Nara asked. I agree with both of them. Ino sighed. Everyone starts there, kids, Asuma commented. Well, you'll be delighted, young ones, Hiruzen commented. I was thinking of giving you a C-rank mission, because you're the perfect squad I can assign to it. Naruto's eyes lit up in excitement. What is it? Tell us, Gramps. A capture mission. I was informed that some criminals have been intercepting our supplies on the road to the village since last week, and I want you to catch them, the Hokage explained. That should be fine. Do we have any clue about their appearance? The Sarutobi Jonin asked. Some victims mention masked people with a strange musical note motif on their clothes, Hiruzen said. We have a bait ready to facilitate the job, approximately 6 kilometers on the main road to the gates of Konoha. He's a Chunin disguised as a standard merchant. Here's the map revealing the location. He'll be there tomorrow. I see. Well, if no one here disagrees, I'm willing to take the mission, the bearded man said. The three genins nodded in agreement, ready to finally discover the exterior world. Asuma gave them 1 hour to prepare before their meeting in front of the entrance. Since it was a C-rank mission, they'll be out of the village for more than a day with possible enemy encounters, meaning they would have to take food and weapon supplies. Konoha's gates, 11 a.m. Team 10 was ready to leave, the two blondes fired up while the Nara showed no signs of content, just tagging along, a part of his duty as a shinobi. Okay, kids. We're probably out of Konoha for a week, so I hope you've got enough food, the Jonin said. A week? But Lord Hokage said our ally would be with us tomorrow, Ino replied. Yes, but we don't know when the attackers will come. We have to pray for them to arrive soon, Asuma noted. Troublesome, but at least we can prepare some traps to help in the meantime. Shikamaru shrugged off. Yeah, I thought of sticking some tags around the place, they won't expect that, Naruto commented. With your combination, a capture mission should be handled without any problem. The bearded adult smiled. Time to go, we have a good walk waiting for us. Forest near Konoha's road, 3 hours later. The spot was hidden behind the mass of trees, at the right place to camp while waiting for their comrade and the bandits. Naruto did most of the work to install the whole thing during the entire afternoon with his shadow clones, an effort much appreciated by the lazy Nara, who could think of a strategy instead. The blonde concealed some tags imbued with Kushina's chakra on the road, ready to release the chains as soon as he released the seals when the enemy group would show itself. For now, all they had to do was wait until the next morning for the Chunin who would be used as bait. The squad gathered around the campfire, eating their first meal. Both Ino and Shikamaru had dinner prepared by their mother, while Naruto surprisingly prepared his own by himself. Pork and some vegetables? I expected you to come with multiple cups of ramen, Ino joked. Your mom taught me how to cook, remember? All she does tastes good. Naruto grinned. Don't forget about me, young man, Kushina said, recollecting every healthy dish she had learned to her son. Sorry, Mom, but I can't say it for obvious reasons. The Jinchuriki chuckled. Mind if I judge your skills? The girl asked, smiling. The blonde boy lent his plate to the Yamanaka with a grin. Go on, I'm confident. Ino picked a small piece of meat with her chopsticks and gently swallowed the nutriments. Her eyes twitched in amazement. Wow, you might be even better than my mom, she exclaimed. Thanks, I'm proud of my cooking. The blonde smiled. 1 hour later, the trio was inside their sleeping bags. As their leader, Asuma was on guard duty, perched on a high branch. Of course, the first one to sleep was Shikamaru, he had a knack for that. I should ask him how he does it. Ino sighed. Maybe he's always tired because he refuses to do anything all day? Naruto chuckled. It wouldn't surprise me. The platinum-haired girl giggled. Anyway, we should probably sleep too. I don't want to be tired for the mission. You're right, good night, Ino, the boy said. You too, Naruto, she replied. A silence formed between them, they were tired, and the heiress began to close her eyes. Damn, what a nice view, the Uzumaki whispered without a warning. A gigantic blush appeared on Ino's face. She was sleeping next to him, and this dumbass just said something like that without a care in the world. Well, she had to admit, he was cute with his loose hair, blue eyes and whiskers, but where the hell did this comment came from? And why was she feeling warm right now? The girl turned her face to inspect the clueless boy, and noticed her stupidity. I'm a complete idiot, worrying for nothing, she commented while burying her red face underneath the sleeping bag. Naruto was looking at the starry sky, not at her. First time you're having a sleepover outdoors? She muttered. Yeah, that's neat, seeing so many stars at once, he commented, eyes focused on the sky. Ino nodded. They're pretty. Sorry if I woke you up, by the way. The Jinchuriki apologized. It's okay. Not your fault, she stuttered, turning her face to hide it from him. Good night again, I guess. Yup, he replied before finally closing his eyes to sleep. The next day, 8 a.m. Shikamaru was woken up by the screaming orders of the two blondes. He was starting to really hate his situation. How come you're both so loud in the morning? The Nara asked between his yawns. Because of you. Ino frowned. What a drag. Shikamaru sighed. Let's end this quickly, I want to go home already. It would be great if your motivation wasn't directed to slacking off. Naruto snorted. The Jonin came out of his spot to greet them. Slept well, kids? Our ally should arrive soon. Proving his point, a shinobi clothed in the Chunin vest with a Konoha headband was walking towards their camp a few minutes after their awakening. So they sent your team, huh? The man noted with a smile. Yeah, long time no see, Kotetsu. Asuma replied. Don't worry, they're good. No problem, I just wondered who would be my teammates, and I'm not disappointed. Kotetsu said. Hello, sir. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. The eccentric genin greeted. I'm Yamanaka Ino. The girl followed. Nara Shikamaru. The dark-haired boy finished. Again Kotetsu. I'll be the bait for the mission. The Chunin replied. You're lucky, I've spotted them while I traveled here, but there is a problem. He frowned. What is it? Asuma questioned, raising an eyebrow. They don't seem to be mere criminals. Kotetsu explained. They wear headbands I don't recognize. A musical note motif. An unknown village attacking Konoha? Strange. The bearded Jonin noted. Indeed. I don't know what their goal is, but we'll learn soon enough. Kotetsu said. The squad waited, hidden on the branches while Kotetsu transformed into a random merchant in the middle of the road. From what he told them, the opponents would attack him in the next minutes. His statement was correct. 10 minutes passed, and the Chunin was surrounded by a dozen masked shinobis wearing the strange headband, coming out of the shadows. Kotetsu feinted panic while the concealed team prepared their trap. Give up your merchandise or die. One of them threatened. I'll give you all I have. Please don't kill me. The Chunin lied. They began to approach him, completely unaware of their surroundings. On the tree, Naruto smirked. Release. He whispered. Multiple chains of chakra sprouted out of the path, grasping every single one of the attackers. What the hell? One of them exclaimed dumbfoundedly. The confusion allowed Shikamaru to act, using the shadows of the chains as his own to perform his technique. Immobilizing so many people at once was tiring but not impossible for him. Shadow possession complete. The quartet came out of the woods, greeting the captured squad. Well done, you two, Asuma said, smiling. Now, what do we have here? I don't recognize the symbol on your headbands, but we can interrogate you to learn a thing or two. The Jonin used his wire to restrain the whole group, wanting to preserve the reserves of the two boys. Ino, you can enter their mind? Asuma asked. Piece of cake. She exclaimed, readying her famous hand seals. Shit, a Yamanaka. One of the captured soldiers said. You know what to do, everyone. The rest nodded and started to bite their tongue. What are you doing? Asuma began to ask, before being interrupted by a horrific sight. All of them began to convulse, their limbs moving in unnatural ways for the human body. Ino, don't do it! He ordered the confused heiress. All right. She complied. After 3 minutes of repeated erratic movements, the soldiers weren't moving anymore, and were seemingly unable to answer anything. Their eyes were completely blank. What the hell happened? Asked the dumbfounded Shikamaru. Kotetsu approached one of the criminals, checking his throat. I can't sense a pulse. He noted, frowning. Fuck. A jutsu to fry their own brain? Asuma asked himself. My bad on that part, I should have let Naruto and Shikamaru maintain their techniques for the interrogation. We can at least retrieve one of their headband, maybe we can check from where it comes from. Kotetsu commented. Good idea, we'll mention their weird jutsu in our report. If they don't want us to know who they are, it's up to no good. The bearded Jonin replied. Well, I'm sorry for the nightmarish view, kids. We're going home, don't worry, you won't be penalized, that's not something we could have expected, he said, smiling at the three genins. We're shinobis, I think we'll see much more gruesome things in the future. Shikamaru shrugged off. That was eye-opening. Ino muttered. What kind of psychos would do that? Naruto grumbled.